people. What are you doing? What are you doing to my people? I was excited and immediately worried because we finally got one that wasn't like a horrific entity, and turns out it might just completely f over everything. I don't know what to expect down here. There's supposedly some like advanced security,
2 seconds later.
Holy what the f just happened? Hang on, did anyone someone literally just I just saw it go down. It's a poop party over here. It's a fecal fiesta. Stop it. This is not the life we lead. I'm getting out of here, you fucking freaks. Holy fuck, a bracken.
Well, there's bracken.
I don't want to be here anymore.
Hello, Clive.
Hello.
I can't see. Make this jump. Wait. I made it. You don't have to do it.
Yeah!
As soon as I said he doesn't have to do it.
Boy, I really hope I'm right in this. Hello, Jeannie May. So fast. It was so fast. Ooh, boy, that caught me off guard. That good shooting, buddy. Jeez. That balls looks like a face. Looks like a scary face.
What?
Yeah, it's like a face over here. Just like, rah, I'm full of bugs.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna
where
get
you. Are.
you.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Been here for like 2 seconds. You've already got like sand madness.
Oh look, it's like way off in the distance. You can see the face.
What?
Oh hey, I found this.
Hey. I don't think that's how that works.
What happened to the lighting? Hello? What? Why is it blue? Hang on. Why did everything turn blue? Wait, hang on. Wait a second. What the hell just happened? Why did everything turn blue? Okay, I can't tell if this is intentional or like a... It looks intentional. You alright?
I heard something and I turned and immediately was thinking.
You generated lust. Congratulations. What the fuck? You just threw that over there. I want to inspire with Splash Inspire. Use the god toilet. It's right there. It's a naked dance. It's not a where you like dance. Come the fuck on. So my thinking here is Odalie in the elevator first, just so we can then like pop Odalie in here right at the same time. My problem is if there's an intern. What intern? Okay, what do we have? What the fuck is this? Oohness, honest, oohness, honest. What the fuck am I looking at? Office of Aurelia. Hello. Welcome. I have Twitch chat off. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Hello, welcome to this Saturday. Hope you had a good week. Hope you had a good week. Hope y'all had a good, oh wait, hang on, I forgot to mix it up. Gosh, dang it. I don't do this for like a week and then I forget to do things. Give me one moment. But Pan, welcome over on Twitch, and I see Abyss, Evie, and Cognitio. Welcome. Hope y'all had a good week. Hope y'all having a good Saturday. Running a bit late because I was trying to get a few things kind of finished up before the stream. Hope y'all having a good day today. Hope y'all had a good week while I was out. I have lost my voice a little bit. I'm not sick. I just cannot speak. Well, I can speak, but evidently, very clearly, right? But my voice is a little gone, so it's gonna be a little weird today. Hopefully, it'll carry me through this. I'm still trying to figure out a couple tiny things here, because I mostly bought everything to go away. Unispot should play Bokura? I don't know what that is. What's Bokura? I don't know what that is. What is it, Evie? Yeah, back from my trip. It was fine. It was a good time. Had a good time. Nice to get away from work for a little bit. I missed streaming, obviously. Of course I did. but it's good. Enjoying a huge glass of strawberry milk, waiting for a huge amount of potatoes to boil. Nice. Nice. Hell yeah. It's cool. I can imagine if we could play it together, Evie, but I don't know what it is beyond that. Context clues tells me it's a co-op game, but beyond that, oh, what is? But yeah, I'm very tired. This last week was very tiring. Do you do a split screen stream? Probably won't then. One, my wife and I have a new setup since we were able to like move back into our former office space. She is a lot closer to me, which like we could play from the same mic, but that makes it a little tricky kind of a thing. Because my desk is not huge, and we would be very cramped in for however long it would be. And even then, if we played like separate games, like just anything, honestly, it'd be very difficult because she is literally like maybe 3 feet away from me, and so there would be a lot of echoing kind of a thing. It's a puzzle game. I'll say fair. We might look into it like just a thing to play together regardless. Probably won't stream it, but yeah, keep that in mind. Any moles on your neck now? I'm petting my dog and I feel like a little mole on her neck. Yeah. Oh, moles on your neck? You're getting lumpy in your old age. I only found out my family won't have lunch with me after I peel all the potatoes, so I guess I'll have lunch with me. You know, there you go, right? That's how it goes. Like, if that doesn't work then you have lunch for tomorrow, and that's, there you go, you're good to go. Okay. Let's play both perspectives. Probably not. Because like I said, streaming anything would be very difficult now because there'd be a lot of echoing. We haven't figured out the logistics of how it would be for us to be able to have her play a game with me, honestly. It'd be very difficult to figure out. Like we've talked about, like she could like one of us could move out into the other room and everything like that. But then it brings up a whole other thing of like, well, then we have to move the computer, and then you know there's the risk of like the connection not being as good and all these other things. So it's very tricky to like establish the best way for us to play games together on stream. And we haven't figured it out yet. Like I said, I'm not sick. I'm not ill. I lost my voice a little bit, and so talking makes me cough a little bit more. And I do apologize. Okay. I think it's time that we move over and we start. My dog is looking at me with the saddest eyes. What is it? You're okay. You're okay, baby. Yeah. You're okay. Good girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are a good girl. Okay. Let's move over. Laryngitis? I don't think so. I just had to like talk louder when we were gone. So like a lot of where we were at, it was very noisy a lot of the time. And so I had to talk louder consistently for like 4 days. Toast, welcome to the stream. I mean, yeah, I was peeking over at my dog. But so at that point, my voice just was like, yep, you're not gonna work anymore. It's like Beastmaster's Pokemon Trainer. It's either that or the, what is it? Oh, I don't remember what it is. There's an Artificer that also has a little construct follower type thing. But anyway, at that point, that's a good transition over to the tier list. I feel like I am a little big. I feel like I might be a smidge too big. Hang on, let me just make myself a bit smaller. Put myself over here. This way, we're good to go. Oh, and actually, I do need to add something else. Hang on, hold please. Hold please, we're going back to chat for a second. Going with the chat because I think I need... sound and Twitch alerts, maybe? Hang on, I think I need to add these on here. Let me double check. See if I can capture photos, though. That's fair. Oh, we have sound alerts on. We don't have Twitch alerts on. Where are those? Those should be here, I guess. I don't know. The Rake. The Rake is not a cryptid. The Rake is a creepypasta. But welcome, Kimberly. Welcome. So some of the things that I did here to try and determine like whether or not they'd be included in this list are they a cryptid? Can you see my mouse? Okay. Like, are they a cryptid? Are they some sort of creature that, you know, is unidentified and allegedly exists? I feel like I'm like too far off the screen. Oops, not that one. VTube Studio, please. Myself right here. There we go. Are they some sort of creature that allegedly exists? The sightings of it, tales about it, kind of a thing. Is it not like a spirit? Now, the ghost deer is kind of another one where it's like, maybe I'm not quite sure about that one. I tried to do like as few aliens as possible, but some of these could potentially be aliens. Black-Eyed Kids, Men in Black, and Indrid Cold are potentially aliens. Maybe the same with Melon Heads and even the Fresno Nightcrawlers, kind of a thing. And then I excluded some that are kind of like potentially like, could they have been potentially seen as like folkloric creatures? Tommyknockers are kind of out of the, like, maybe they might have not been included because of that thing cut off, that what is it, criteria, I guess. Tommyknockers might not be kind of a thing. And so I excluded like Wendigos. I excluded skinwalkers because those are like I don't know. It feels there are native peoples who wholeheartedly believe in these things, and they are part of their folklore and a part of their, I don't want to say religious practices, but a part of their culture. And so I excluded those. Kind of same with like the Yeti. And I'm not sure about a lot of these on whether or not they fall within those, but I tried to be a little bit, you know, I guess sensitive, because there's one cryptid, quotes encrypted, that is from a town from where I kind of grew up, allegedly where its body is actually held, its taxidermy body is. And I excluded it because I was like, oh, well, that's actually kind of it's actually a part of Native American folklore to some degree. So I kind of excluded that one. But so we have an amount of creatures here. Some of these are fairly, you know, standard things. We have the Bigfoot. We've got the Jersey Devil. We've got the Chupacabra. We got Nessie, got the Loch Ness Monster. We got a few other things though, that are a little bit more, I guess, I don't know about how niche they are, how fringe they are. But we have a fair amount. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'm imagining it's going to take me a while because I'm going to talk through each of these and just trying to rationalize where things go. The Snallygaster is also another one that's a kind of more folkloric and not necessarily a cryptid, but there are alleged sightings of the Snallygaster. How real it may or may not be. But we have an amount of things here, and today's stream is me marrying two of my loves, cryptids and these bizarre creature kind of things. I know an amount about most of these. Some of these I don't know a whole lot about, but I know of them sort of like at arm's length, and marrying that with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I love D&D, and so I was like, what if we take the cryptids and we assign them classes? What class would they be in an adventuring party? I will probably talk about what potential subclass they would be while I'm assigning them, but I'm not 100% about that. I also just realized I didn't change this to the Beast of Gévaudan. That's supposed to be the Beast of Gévaudan, not the Beast of Dartmoor. I'm an idiot. But yes, we do have the Jersey Devil. We do have the Chupacabra. We got all kinds of different things. Like, for example, I know a bit about the Ohio Grassman, basically a Bigfoot in Ohio, more or less. Interestingly, kind of harassed a family. If I'm remembering my story correctly, harassed a family for a couple of years, maybe even killed their dog. But basically just a Bigfoot. There's a lot of big feet here. Momo, Ohio Grassman, the skunk ape, Bigfoot, of course, obviously. A lot of big feats. Got a couple of plesiosaur type things. We got Nessie. We have Champ up here, who's a Lake Champlain monster. But then we have a few odd ones, and ones that I don't know a ton about, like the Ozark Howler. I don't know a ton about the Ozark Howler. I know of the Ozark Howler, of course, but I don't know a ton about it. Kind of same with the Dover Demon, or even the Beast of Dartmoor, for that matter. But I know an amount about some of these, or I know of them, kind of thing. Some of these I know a bit more about. Like I said, I know a bit more about the Ohio Grassman. The Grafton Monster is a really interesting story about sensationalism and taking the word of a person who's driving home at like 4 in the morning and a few teenagers. Very interesting. Injured Cole's also very interesting, and his relation, especially to like Mothman. And the Tasmanian Tiger is one, I think maybe potentially the only thing on here that, well, aside from alien big cats, but alien big cats are kind of weird, that potentially actually, they did exist. They were a real animal, and they're only in cryptid status in that we can't confirm on whether or not they are fully extinct or not. So yeah, I have put very little thought into any of these ahead of time, so this is gonna be my fresh takes on what these are, where they belong. I think the only one I really would have thought of was like Bigfoot, and I think I have a spicy take on Bigfoot. This is the usual time for Saturday. Ark, welcome, Ark. Welcome. This is my usual time. I normally stream at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Also, have you seen the Man in Your Dreams? No, I assume you're referring to Injured Cold. I have not. I have not seen the Grinning Man in my dreams. Thank goodness. Though allegedly he's kind of not malevolent. He's just not necessarily benevolent, I guess. He's well, even then he might be benevolent, and he might just have humanity's best interests at heart because he's an alien. But you know. I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. How are you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Ark? You might be able to tell I've lost my voice a little bit, so we're gonna be going with that. But I don't know how well it's going to go as I talk for 4 hours straight. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I will not be able to help myself and probably give you the insights that I have on any of these. What are we ranking? We're ranking cryptids as D&D 5th edition classes, playable classes, things like that. Have you watched the hit anime Dan Da Dan? I have watched Dan Da Dan. We have watched the first 3 episodes of Dan Da Dan. It's very good. Really like Dan Da Dan. Really, really good. Even when the second episode hit, I had the thought, I was like, that looks like a Flatwoods monster. And then, of course, like 5 minutes later, of course, Okaroon is like, it looks like it's a Flatwoods monster. I was like, oh, so it's actually supposed to be a Flatwoods monster, which is kind of interesting, kind of fun. But anyway, let us get into the rankings. Okay, so we're starting up. These are in alphabetical order, I believe, as I uploaded them as such. So we're starting with a weird one, the Ahool. The Ahool is, I believe it was in, oh boy, where was it? I did research on this thing because it's such a bizarre creature. Oh golly, where was it now? I want to say it's somewhere in potentially like the Pacific Islands somewhere. And it comes from basically one story of a man who went out on a research trip. He went on a research expedition with some other people, kind of a thing. And he was up late at night, unable to. He had I think 2 or 3 encounters. He wasn't able to sleep one night, and he heard this enormous flying creature fly overhead. And he might have heard it screech, which was like it wasn't typical of anything for the area. And then they might have seen it. Wait, but this was like the 1800s, by the way. This was so long ago. Maybe early 1900s? I feel like it was late 1800s though. But, and then they saw this massive, like, sort of bat-like creature. This giant, enormous creature that, you know, it shouldn't exist kind of a thing. The Ahool, this is an artist's interpretation, of course. I don't know if you can see how well you can see it, but the artist's interpretation is that it's basically a gorilla with bat wings. And like bat-like feet, like it's like, but like of a, you know, a size, like an enormous size for this creature. The Ahool is very interesting. There's not a whole lot about it, and like I said, it basically comes from one account of this creature. So where would I put the Ahool? The Ahool, the vibe I always got from it is that it is like, you know, it's out. A lot of these are going to be like very. A lot of these could fit into the same category, right? A lot of them, like, people are like, oh, they're rogues because they sneak very well, they're druids because they're animal-like, and I'm kind of trying to avoid that kind of a thing. It is out in the woods kind of a thing, so I'm thinking either potentially barbarian or ranger, honestly, Toast. Barbarian would be an interesting one, just because if it is supposed to be a massive gorilla-like, bat-like creature, that would obviously fit with a barbarian, but a ranger for, like, navigating the forest. God, I wish I could remember where it was. I feel like it was the Pacific Islands, but it might have been like, golly, where was it now? Now I need to remind myself. There's always gonna be a lot of this. I'm gonna have another screen pulled up. I'm gonna be looking these things up so I can talk about them a bit better. Some portray the creature as a giant bat, others claim it as a flying primate. Is it synchri Ahool? The Ahool is the sound it makes, which is why it's there. Java, the jungles of Java, which the jungles of Java are in Indonesia. I wanted to say Indonesia, but I was incorrect. Monkey, right? Okay, it was early 1900s, 1925. I tried to identify the people, the guy who encountered this thing. So it's 1925 and 1927, so you had two encounters with it. Because allegedly, the guy who cited it is the son of a, I guess, semi-well-known ornithologist. But yeah, so they saw a giant unknown bat flew overhead, then he heard the cry, and it sounded like a hool kind of a thing. So it's very much potentially, like I said, an ape-like a bat creature or something like that. We could do monk from monkey. I don't think monk doesn't fit right. Artificer is right out. Barbarian is definite potential. Bard's an interesting one because it is named after the sound it makes, a hool. Does it fit thematically speaking? I don't think so, not really. Kind of same with cleric, I don't think it really fits. Druid, not really either. Fighter, probably not either. Monk, I don't really know too much about it as a monk. Paladin, nah. Rangers, my other guess, rogue, no. Sorcerer, no. Or warlock, no. Or wizard, no. So I'm torn between either ranger or barbarian. I am leaning more barbarian, being a massive monkey or ape-like, primate-like flying creature. I think barbarian fits it quite well. What kind of barbarian would it be? Let's see. I mean, barbarians I make are always going to end up being like Path of the Totem Warrior. Because it's the best one out of all of them. Monkey. There's the one, I don't remember the name of it, but the path where you could like take on elements of different creatures, being a sort of amalgamation kind of a thing. It would make sense if it were like taking on aspects of different creatures, being, you know, part bat, part primate potentially. Allegedly. Might be something like that. New Jersey Devil and Chupacabra Mothman. They're here. We got Mothman, we got the three. We got most of the big ones. I didn't put Mokele Mbembe, which I kind of regret not adding that one. I think that one's another sort of like Champ or Nessie-esque one that's in the jungles of Africa, I believe. Let me look that one up again. Hey, let me fact check myself. Mokele Mbembe. It's a mythical water-dwelling entity believed to exist in the Congo River Basin. It's another one of these like long-necked swimming type creatures. Playing the Impossible Quiz with? Oh, I don't know. I couldn't say. I think we're gonna go with Barbarian for a Hool. I'm okay with that. Like I said, I think it's either Path of the Totem Warrior or Path of the Beast or something like that. I don't remember what it is. The one where you take on elements of the different animals. Very lycanthropic kind of a thing. Do you have the Noble Jackalope? I do have the Jackalope. We'll get to them about halfway through kind of a thing. So glad Barbarian gives Stando 5s. Also, welcome, Sky. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a good Saturday. Hope you had a good week. Now we're on to a weird one. Air rods. Air rods are this phenomenon that you can't see with the naked eye. You can only see them when you take still photos. Now, the thing is, if you know anything about photography, is that there's a potential for, if a bug moves fast enough or matches a shutter speed kind of a thing, you can get these sort of anomaly type things. So air rods probably don't exist. Let's be honest, most of these probably don't exist, but it's fun to think that they do. But air rods are this phenomenon where you take a still photo and you get these bizarre streaks, these like very difficult to see lines in your still. And like I said, anything about photography, if you move something fast enough, like or a bug shoots off at just the right speed and matches the shutter speed, what have you, you can get these anomalies. So, but there's a community of people who believe that these are some sort of like invisible entity or potentially even aliens or extra dimensional kinds of things. As such, not being able to see with the naked eye, that's an interesting one. Maybe something like, I'm thinking a magic casting one. I'm thinking maybe like Warlock, like with an undead patron, like a ghost patron or something like that. But if they're more alien, then maybe they're like more like a sorcerer type of a thing. Something much more naturally mysterious. This is gonna be where a lot of the time is going to take, because I'm gonna sit and think for the ones that really don't fit a whole lot of anything else. Some of these, they'll be in different places. Like they'll fit where they're gonna fit, though I do have some spicy takes on a couple of them. Okay, I was like, where's Bigfoot? I know I had Bigfoot. Bigfoot's right here. Let's see, air rods. Monk would be an interesting one also, just because if they're so fast that you can't see them with the naked eye and you only catch them in brief glimpses through stills, that fits in with how quick monks can get. But I'm leaning more towards sorcerer, and it's more of like a natural phenomenon that they're cloaking themselves and only to be captured through stills. Warlock's an interesting one as well, but it doesn't quite fit in me. Ranger might be an interesting one. I guess if it's sort of thing where it's like they blend in so well with their natural surroundings, you just can't see them until you take a photo of them. That's interesting. It's an interesting idea. Definitely an interesting idea. What ranger would they be, though? Oh, you know what? Interesting. If they are an extra dimensional creature, a ranger, what is it? What are the rangers subclasses? I don't remember. A horizon walker, because their whole thing is protecting different planes and the different the barriers between them. Horizon walker ranger is an interesting one, actually. That's a very interesting one, because there's nothing really sorcerer that would fit, like a subclass for sorcerer that fits exactly what I'm thinking. And warlock doesn't quite feel correct. It doesn't feel like they have a patron of some sort. They are just that way. Oh yeah, Horizon Walker Ranger is a really interesting one, actually. That's an interesting one. I like that. That's a good one. Going based on the idea that they might be extra dimensional in nature, kind of a thing. That's fascinating. That'd be a Horizon Walker Ranger is a really cool one that I never got a chance to play, and no one wants to play it, so I can't even DM it. Unfortunately. Okay, so we'll do air rods and ranger, and they would be like a horizon walker. All right, alien big cats. Now, alien big cats are just, they're not aliens in the idea that they're from another planet. Alien big cats mean they are big cats, so like panthers, jaguars, tigers, even like mountain lions, in places they shouldn't be. Generally speaking, and actually this is more of a British cryptid than anything. A lot of sightings about alien big cats in the UK. So they're in theory, allegedly, actual animals just transplanted into places they shouldn't be. It's like like SWAT cats. Oh my goodness gracious, SWAT cats, Sky, really? Oh man, I'll remember about SWAT cats about once a year, and then just get hit with a just like, wow, SWAT cats. Anyway, so with alien big cats, I'm thinking either Ranger. I bring deep cuts to the party. I didn't watch much SWAT cats. It was never on at the time when I was like watching TV when I was a kid, but I would catch it every now and then, and I thought I love the art style of SWAT cats. But alien big cats, I'm thinking Ranger. I'm also thinking Rogue. They're sneaking around. They're getting to places they shouldn't be. Ranger in that they find their way through unfamiliar territory and they're able to navigate the natural world. They'd be very basic Ranger, maybe even like a Scout Ranger. Or no, Scouts are Rogue. Excuse me, not Scout Ranger. What am I thinking? Actually, no, there's really no Ranger that I'm thinking that would work well enough for this. Rogue, like a Scout Rogue might be the best way, for, like the best thing for them. Druid, but they don't have any like magical powers. They're just straight up like their own little thing. They're just animals. They're just animals in places they shouldn't be. They're lost. They're confused. They're probably scared. In all honesty, kind of like the Beast of Dartmoor, which is just like a big bear, though it's like a bear wolf thing. I think, if I remember the Beast of Dartmoor is. This is the Beast of Gévaudan. I'm an idiot. Don't ignore the text there. The Loveland Frog is probably a druid. We'll get to that in a second, though. Because you're probably too wild shape in the middle of a city. It's fair. The thing is, like, there's nothing about alien big cats that has ever been alleged that they are supernatural entities. Well, that's not necessarily true. Some people might think they're like ghosts or something like that. But there's nothing inherently magical about them. They're allegedly just like, oh, that's a panther out in the moors, or like whatever, out in the fields of fucking, I don't know, Britain, in Wales, kind of a thing, right? Like they're still generally out. There's some that are in town, but generally they're out elsewhere, like out in the wilds of the UK. I think I want to go with like a Scout Rogue kind of a thing. Still naturally focused, like their whole thing is that they're still out scouting like the wilds and things like that, but they're out sneaking. They're getting to places they shouldn't be. So I'm gonna put alien big cats under Rogue for Scout Rogue in particular. Okay. Now this is one that I don't know a ton about because I think it's stupid. Bat Squatch. Bat Squatch was allegedly seen near Mount St. Helens in the 1980s. It resembles a flying primate. This is from the Cryptid wiki, by the way. It resembles a flying primate similar to the Ahul and the Orangbati of Southeast Asia. And its name is a portmanteau derived from the word bat and Sasquatch. Is an artist rendering. Said to have yellow eyes, a dog-like muzzle, blue fur, sharp teeth, bird-like feet, and leathery bat-like wings that span up to 50 feet. Bat Squatch is said to be 9 feet tall and has the ability to affect car engines. Huh. Beginning in 1980, there's a few that went through, like, it looked like 2014. Bat Squatch is a weird one. So weird that I'm almost inclined to say it's another beast, like barbarian type thing. Affecting car engines is a weird fucking, like, little note that it does. Like, that's a weird thing. What could that possibly be? What sort of magical energy? Like, a sorcerer might make a bit of sense. Sorcerer might make sense, just in that it has like a natural magic type thing, but also Druid might fit in that it turns into these things. I don't know if I feel about that either, though. Kyle, welcome. When we stream, hopefully good Saturday. We're assigning Cryptids D&D 5th edition classes and kind of subclasses, but they're not featured here because that'd be a lot of things to have all at once. I'm amazed I could actually fit these all on one screen, if I'm perfectly honest. But welcome. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a good week. Let me see. Let me think. So it's big. It has it's an amalgamation of creatures, and can affect car engines, allegedly. Artificer's an interesting one, actually, but it doesn't seem like it's intelligent, right? So that kind of rules out like Artificer and Wizard. Kind of feels more like I said, Sorcerer, maybe Druid. Cleric doesn't really fit. Bard doesn't really fit. Fighter does. It doesn't imply that it's a brawler or anything like that. Yeah, just like it's a bunch of. I don't know. It turned off. The guy's truck suddenly died. I don't know. This is a weird one. What could it be? Okay, hang on. So, I think, honestly, maybe like a wild magic barbarian, potentially. Wild magic barbarians, they don't really have a ton of like different things that affect, well, they do have things that affect other people, but nothing in the terms like, you know, deactivating magic items, in which case we'd be considering like an engine, a magic item of some sort, so that's some sort of magic apparatus, as it were. Nothing to really affect electricity here. Well, I guess a storm sorcerer could potentially do something like that. Just look at a storm barbarian. That magical aura for affecting electronics is a weird thing, or affecting car engines is a weird thing. With it being as big as it is, though, I'd be inclined to say barbarian. It could be like a storm barbarian. It could be, I don't know. It could be just another one of those beast barbarians that take on forms of different animals and things like that. I think barbarian's gonna fit it the best, though, just by the virtue of. If we take Storm Barbarian, which doesn't make a ton of sense because there's like elements where it like turns it into like, there's nothing else Storm related about it, but Storm Barbarians do have this ability to have sort of like an electrical field around them where they can zap people with lightning. That would be like the best way I think that it would be to naturally affect car engines in a D&D type setting. So I would say maybe a Barbarian for a Bad Squatch, like a Storm Barbarian, Herald of the Storm. I believe is what it is, or yeah, something like that. Path of the Storm Herald is what it is. Excuse me. So I think we just put him there just because for that little electrical zap to, you know, deactivate car engines. I don't know how happy I am with that, but I think that's the best fit for it. It's big, it's fast, it fits barbarians also. Now, the Beast of Bladenborough is another one that I know of, but I don't know a ton about. So let us look up the Beast of Bladenborough. Refers to a creature responsible for a string of deaths amongst Bladenborough, North Carolina animals in the winter of 1953 to 54. According to witnesses and trackers, it was likely a wildcat species, but its identity was ultimately not definitively confirmed. According to reports, the animal commonly crushed or decapitated its victims, which were mostly dogs. Interesting. So, kind of like maybe another alien big cat kind of thing. The animal's been described as resembling either a bear or a panther. Also going to hear the creature scream while hunting and likened to that of a panther. So it might be, never occurs in this country, is what opinion might have actually been a coyote. Used to be a wolf. Old folks say they remember seeing wolves in the Bay Swamp area and talk about them now and then. Someone else described the creature as a big mountain lion when it charged them on January 5th. Mountain lion is a term typically used west of Mississippi for cougar. The game warden of Elizabeth tracks indicate a catamount, another name for a cougar. Other people describe the animal as likely being a wolverine, while others speculate that the creature may have been a wild police dog. Man, with how many different animals this was. Welcome, Ricky. Welcome. Honestly, like, Druid running wild, that kind of fits the best with how many different animals this potentially could have been, from a bear to a mountain lion to a dog to a coyote to a wolf to a wolverine. Like, that's just a whole mess of a bunch of different animals that this could have been. And in all honesty, that sounds like probably just a crazed Circle of the Moon druid, taking different forms and killing animals over the course of this year, kind of this winter from 1953 to 54. Just really hates dogs for some reason. Just a druid that really hates dogs. So yeah, I think a druid is the best. Just a plain simple Circle of the Moon druid for the Beast of Bladdenborough. Which, here's the thing, I say simple, but Circle of the Moon is the best druid class or subclass or circle. So I'm no hate to that. It's the best one, in my opinion. I feel like it's either that or I don't know. The spirit totem one is also pretty good. Is it Rocky on this list? No, it is not. Mostly because I don't know what that is. A lot of these I tried to pick that I knew at least by, like I said, at arm's length. I've heard of them, I know a little bit about them, but I don't know a ton about them. But yes, Beast of Bladdenborough, that's a druid. That's a Circle of the Moon druid, just going crazy, killing dogs for a year, for a winter. All right, so the Beast of Bray Road. Now, the Beast of Bray Road is I believe, a potential werewolf. Over here, I wish my Circle of the Moon druid lived longer to become a kaiju. That's fair. Lots of teaspoons of mashed potatoes. Oh no, not a teaspoon of mashed potatoes, Pan. No, every mashed potato is so important. We actually have a couple of potential werewolf-esque creatures on this list. The Beast of Bray Road is one. The Beast of Jevodon, which, like I said, it says Dartmoor, and I'm an idiot. And the Michigan Dogman, somewhere right here, are all alleged wolf-like humanoid-esque creatures. Might be werewolves. This is also known as the Bray Road Beast or the Wisconsin Werewolf. The Beast of Bray Road is the name given to a wolf-like creature reported to have been witnessed in or near Elkhorn, Walworth County, Wisconsin. The creature has become part of Wisconsin folklore and has had multiple books documented in a 2005 horror film. Name for the rural road on which it was first purportedly cited. Reports, this is from the Wikipedia page for the Beast of Bray Road. In the 1980s, 1990s, prompted the local newspaper, the Walworth County Week, to assign reporter Linda Godfrey to cover the story. Godfrey's okay, well, yeah, later. I don't care. The Beast of Bray Road, as a description, is often described by alleged witnesses being between 6 feet and 7 feet tall, with a humanoid-style body covered in fur or hair, and with a head resembling a wolf, and large glowing red or orange eyes. It's purported to have been seen moving as both a quadruped and a biped, and some reports described it more closely to resembling a traditional werewolf or Bigfoot. Allegedly first seen in 1936. In the 80s, several alleged witnesses reported the beast had made contact with their vehicles, leaving long scratch marks on doors and trunks of vehicles. Animal mutilations reported in the area around Bray Road with animal remains, including deer and livestock, partially eaten with specific organs removed from animal carcasses. In 2018 and 2020, reported observing a large, hair-covered upright creature in Spring Prairie and lions, both in Walworth County. Typical explanations for this. Simply a big gray wolf or a big dog, a black bear suffering from mange, mass hysteria, all these sorts of things. But, like I said, this is our first werewolf of the list. Now, unfortunately, there are two that really fit the bill when it comes to werewolf-like creatures. That's Barbarian, and that's in the I need to look this up, because I'm going to be talking about this one a lot. Barbarian 5e. Let me pull this up real quick and remind myself what the name of this path is. It's just Path of the Beast. It might literally just be Path of the Beast, excuse me. It is literally just Path of the Beast, is what it is. I was overcomplicating it, because sometimes they get overcomplicated. Okay, that was weird. So the Path of the Beast, because you can take on different forms, and even the flavor behind the Path of the Beast is that you have some lycanthropic heritage, where you can take on claws or teeth or a tail, thanks to one of your ancestors being a lycanthrope. So when you rage, you're able to take on these elements of an animal. And so that fits very well with werewolf-like creatures. Druid also, same thing. You can transform into different animals, you can kind of think, you can do things like that. This one sounds very, very more, you know, brutalistic, I guess. I don't want to put them all in the same thing, but they might end up being all in the same thing. In that they might all just end up being a barbarian. There might be a lot of barbarians in this list, in this tier list. If I'm perfectly honest, and I apologize. There might be a lot of them. But it's just the best. The Path of the Beast Barbarian fits the best for werewolf-like entities, like creatures. They can take on elements of a wolf. They can have the teeth. They can have the claws. They can have a tail, which, you know, the tail is actually sort of like spiny and reticulated and it's supposed to be able to. But that notwithstanding, taking on animalistic type forms without going full animal like a druid, kind of just fits with that. It's either that or like a high-level wizard where you can like polymorph into a werewolf, or like any other spellcaster can learn polymorph. But, it's just gonna go there. I'm afraid that both the Michigan Dogman and the Beast of Gévaudan are going to do the same thing. The Beast of Gévaudan might not. The Beast of Gévaudan might end up being a druid, because it's more like a dire wolf, like just a big-ass wolf kind of a thing. But anyway, we're going with that. Now, the Beast of Busco. The Beast of Busco is a weird one. Beast of Busco is a weird one. Indiana folklore, the Beast of Busco is an enormous snapping turtle, which citizens claim to have seen in 1949. Despite a month-long hunt that briefly gained national attention, the Beast of Busco was never found. In 1898, apparently, a farmer claimed to have seen a giant turtle living in the 7-acre lake on his farm near Churubusco, Indiana. He told others about it, but eventually he decided to drop the matter. A half-century later, in 1948, two citizens also reported seeing a huge turtle weighing an estimated 500 pounds while fishing in the same lake, which had come to be known as Folk Lake. Before seeing the creature, word spread. So yeah, the whole thing, just a big ass turtle, just a huge turtle, near this town in Indiana. They named it Oscar, apparently. Before committing any crime, should I put barbecue sauce on my mashed potatoes and hot dog wieners? I would never put barbecue sauce on my mashed potatoes. That's a weird flavor profile to put together, in my opinion. I've never tried it. It might be good. I don't know. I don't know. My wife gives me the thumbs up. She says it's good. So I guess go for it. I don't know. But yes, anyway. So it looks like it's just a big turtle that lives in a lake in Indiana. It vanished again. I guess it doesn't like when I have my thing tabbed out. I guess I could do this and maybe that'll keep it from loading. I will put it on the wieners. Okay, that's fine. Barbecue sauce on little hot dogs. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. This feels... No one ever found it, but that also feels kind of just like a druid, right? Just a druid who likes turning into a turtle, and they just hang out in a lake in Indiana somewhere. That also feels like a druid. I feel like a lot of these are gonna end up being druid and barbarian. Just likes going and hanging out, you know? They're just vibing, they're minding their own business. People coming over, like, they're messing with them kind of a thing. Ranger's not a bad one either, but I think druid might be more likely. Like just a turtle druid who just wants to turn into a bigger turtle. Just hang out in a lake. That's their retirement. They're just having a good time out there. We're just gonna go druid for the Beast of Busco. Not a ton about the Beast of Busco, but yeah, this is a druid hanging out. The Beast of Dartmoor. Again, another one that I know about. Don't know a ton about. Hard to imagine a cryptid as a cleric, so this might be a half-empty list. It might be, honestly. Though, I would say, there's arguments to be made about Black-Eyed Kids and maybe even Indrid Cold being clerics. I haven't quite settled on where I want them to go. They're going to be interesting. The Tommyknockers might be our only artificer, actually, now that I think about it. But here's the thing. There's also an argument for Mothman to be a cleric. Mothman could be a divination wizard or a cleric who serves a deity of divination. If you buy into the idea that Mothman is a harbinger of ill omen, they come to try and warn, and they are seen, spotted in areas where great tragedy is about to occur. But anyway, we'll get to Mothman later. Mothman's gonna be an interesting one, I think. The Beast of Dartmoor is a name given to alien big cat sightings. So technically it is an alien big cat, but it is a large black or beige cat/dog-like animal. Is known to have injured and killed livestock in the area. This is Dartmoor, England, of course. So this might be just another alien big cat, but this is a specific alien big cat. Yeah, interesting. So here's an explanation from the Cryptids Wiki. In July 2016, after a lynx escaped from the Dartmoor Zoo, it was revealed by the zoo owner that pumas had been roaming the moor. In 1978, the zoo was expecting to deliver 5 pumas after Plymouth Zoo had closed down. The zoo owner and the circus had allegedly released a breeding pair and 1 other puma into the wild rather than giving them up to a new home. However, their husband denies the claim. Letting a big cat stop in 2010, which may have been because of the pumas. Because the pumas, if this count is true, did not survive the harsh winter of that year. So these might have just been more alien big cats. Which at that point, the Beast of Dartmoor just goes into the rogue territory. Again, sort of just going out there, sneaking around in places they shouldn't be. Now that said, the Beast of Dartmoor also feels like it potentially might be more of a ranger. While it might just be another alien big cat, it would make sense to put it in the same category as rogue. Ranger being that the alien big cats, I guess, all have this explanation of being dropped in places they shouldn't be, right? And they're just out wandering, doing their thing, getting to places they shouldn't be. But the Beast of Dartmoor feels like if it was a bunch of pumas that were released out into the wild, into the moors of England, they're just doing their best to survive. They are just rangers then. At that point, they're found in a new unfamiliar place, doing the best they can to survive. It wasn't that they were sneaking around in areas they shouldn't be getting into. It was that they were just now trying to survive in unfamiliar territory, which feels more ranger-esque. Probably just your like standard ranger kind of a thing. Nothing too fancy. But yeah, I'm gonna go with ranger for them. Even though they might be alien big cats, ranger feels better given the circumstances and potential explanations for the Beast of Dartmoor. Excuse me, I had to drink some water. That was very... I just also realized we don't have the music playing. The music should be playing. There we go. I just realized I didn't have that on. My bad. I've been listening to music for the last almost hour, and y'all haven't been. I apologize for that. So yeah, like I said, it might be a little counterintuitive to have the alien big cats be scout rogues and have the Beast of Dartmoor be a ranger, but it just feels right to me, right? It just feels right. Oh, I should close Steam. That's probably causing some problems. Anyway, now we've got, who's next? The Dover Demon. The Dover Demon's a weird one. And it's another one that I know about, but I don't know a ton about, kind of thing. I'm hearing music, usually there isn't double BGM. Is there? Oh, there is, you're right. I had Space Jazz going. It's down here. I forgot I had it its own thing. Thanks, Ricky. Music's been on the whole time. I looked over and I realized I was like, oh man, that thing's off. It's probably not playing. I forgot I had it as its own thing. Thank you. Look, you don't stream for a week, this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't stream for a week. You forget how things work. Okay. The Dover Demon. The Dover Demon. Let's see. Let's go with the Wikipedia page. The Dover Demon is a creature reportedly sighted on April 21st to 22nd in 1977 in Dover, Massachusetts. sightings. 17-year-old claimed that while driving, he saw a creature about 4 feet tall with glowing orange eyes and no nose or mouth and a watermelon-shaped head on top of a broken stone wall on Farm Street in Dover, Massachusetts. Another 15-year-old reported seeing a creature similar on Miller Hill Road the same evening. Another 15-year-old, Abby Brabham, claimed to have seen the creature the following night on Springdale Avenue, whatever. Different things. They all do sketches of the creature. The locations lay in a straight line over 2 miles. They weren't made public until the affairs made. Interestingly, apparently a local investigator, unexplained phenomenon, in quotes, noted similarities to creatures in the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter of 1955. Which is kind of interesting. I didn't think about the fact that they might be very similar. And you can, like, so here's what the Dover Demon vaguely looks like. I don't know if you can see it that well. Right here. But then you have the Hopkinsville goblins down here, and I guess they could be very similar. They look very Gray-esque kind of a thing. Ooh, thank you for the posture check. Everybody straighten up. Thank you, Ricky. Oh, I also popped my back. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. You got bamboozled. Barbecue, just dark ketchup. That's a bummer. Thank you for the hydrate. Hope everybody took a sip. But so yeah, this Dover Demon might be an alien. Maybe. No one saw a UFO. Some people say it was a foal or a moose calf. Some other person believes it's just a snowy owl. Nothing a school vacation hoax. It's also fair. Could have very well been a hoax. So yeah, just a bunch of this is the Dover Demon. This feels like another rogue. This feels like another rogue, honestly. Not much is known about the Dover Demon. Just a bunch of kids saw it, kind of a thing. Over a little bit of space. Honestly, it feels kind of just like a rogue type creature. Like just out wandering, just out taking in Massachusetts, sneaking down a road, having a good time, getting bothered by some kids. Like it feels like just kind of like out there sneaking, just going down the line kind of a thing. Good thief never gets caught, so rogue is probably best, right? Like it just feels like it's the only one that really fits. Artificer, I mean, there's nothing about it, like, putting together like a machine or anything like that. It might be an alien in that it's similar to the Hopkinsville goblins, but there was no UFO scene. Barbarian is out. It wasn't like that, anything like that. Bard, no. Cleric, no. Druid, no. Fighter, no. Monk, no. Like Monk is the only other one that I could see like maybe working, but even then I'm not. Paladin, no. Ranger, no. Rogue is the best one. Sorcerer, no. Warlock, no. Wizard, no. I think Rogue is gonna fit. I don't know which one it would be under Rogue. Like I said, Scout might be the best one. But even then, it's like, not too great. If it's not shouting Eldritch Blast, it's definitely not a Warlock. That's fair. I don't know what to do about a couple of these. Black-Eyed Kids is gonna be a weird one also. But Rogue, I think, fits the best for the Dover Demon, just in that it's just out there, just sneaking along, just doing its thing, just doing its thing, right? Okay. So we're gonna go with that. Okay, now here's gonna be a weird one. Here's one we're gonna have to sit and think for a second. Black-Eyed Kids, or Black-Eyed Children. Now, if you don't know what Black-Eyed Kids are, or Black-Eyed Children, legend, they resemble paranormal creatures, this is from the Wikipedia, that resemble children and teenagers with pale skin and black eyes who are reportedly seen hitchhiking or begging or encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. Been existence in the 1980s. A lot of things. Just kind of all over the place. Just all over the place. So they're kids that show up and they have pure black eyes, like their sclera, their pupils, their irises, just completely black. Like I said, they pale skin, roughly kind of a thing. It's just a spooky thing that happens. They might be ghosts, a lot of them think they might be aliens. There's been some affiliation. There's at least one story that I know of that relates black-eyed kids to the Men in Black, where an older couple took in a couple of black-eyed kids, and then some mysterious men in black suits in a black car came and picked them up, kind of a thing. And they talked very weird. Their interaction was very weird. There's might be some psychic or other supernatural phenomenon around black-eyed kids, in that when you interact with them, like, you feel ill, you can get sick, pets just die. Like, sometimes, I think the one story I heard of where, like, their cats just started dying, like, a day or two after they saw, like, after the black-eyed kids got into their home. Animals don't like them generally. So Druid's out, and Ranger's out at that point. They're just very, very weird. Like, there's like some sort of psychic or radioactive phenomenon around them, or it might be supernatural kind of a thing. And they're just spooky kids. Going down the line, Artificer doesn't feel correct. There's nothing really about the Artificer in them, or about the black-eyed kids, like about them putting together, tinkering, and whatnot. Barbarian's also out. They're not big, burly, fighting type things. Bard, I mean, in that you feel a sense of unnervingness. There's that sort of like force of just existence around them. Maybe. Cleric, I don't really think so, unless it was like a dark entity they served, which that would feel more like Warlock, which I think is more what I'm leaning towards. But I'll get that in a second. Druid, no, because the animals don't like them. Fighter, no, they're not fighters. Monk, no. Paladin, no. Ranger, no. Rogue, not really, no. Sorcerer, potentially. Again, if their lineage was something along the lines of like a Great Old One, or something in that respect. But in that point, then again, you know, a Warlock fits that a bit better. And Wizard, I mean, potentially, but I'm not leaning towards that. The ones that I'm thinking the most for black-eyed kids are Sorcerer and Warlock. Warlock feels a bit more thematic for them. They have their some sort of harbingers, or they have some sort of pact with some sort of dark entity that gives them their abilities. Being around them can make you just a little unsettled, maybe a little nauseous, maybe a little sick. And it's like maybe that, like I said, a Great Old One, or some sort of other extraplanar entity that gives them their own, like, you know, level of power. I think I'm gonna go with Warlock. Their hive mind serving a grand, horrible purpose, which, who knows what that purpose would be. And like I said, there's some association with the Men in Black, which the Men in Black are also, I'm not sure where I'm gonna put them. It almost feels, oh man, the Men in Black might be a paladin actually, but they'd be like dark paladins. They go out and like they're there to, like, you know, suppress things, and like there's some shadowy organization kind of a thing. Like I said, there's not a lot of aliens on this list. There are 3 potential aliens, I guess 4 if we count air rods, but black-eyed kids, Men in Black, and Indrid Cold. But anyway, I think black-eyed kids are going to be more Warlock-esque in that they have some power from some other entity that is... the thing is, they might even be an extension of that entity to a certain degree, and they're like that, but that makes them more Sorcerer. But I think Warlock fits them the best thematically. So we're going to go with Warlock for black-eyed kids. The Flatwoods monster is next. Death Knights, yeah, right. Someone who doesn't know much about D&D but is making a campaign, could a Warlock disguise themselves as a Cleric? They sound a bit similar to me. I think you potentially could. In all honesty, like, Clerics and Warlocks are very much like 2 sides of the same coin. Clerics derive their power from their faith in their entity, or in their deity. And even then, in 5th edition, you don't even need to have a deity. You could just have a strong belief in, or faith in, whatever aspect that you derive your powers from. So you could be a Cleric of Life. You might not necessarily worship a deity of life, but if you have such a strong belief in the perseverance of life, you could get your power from that. 5th edition tried to, like, sort of divorce paladins and clerics a lot from being, like, strictly like, you worship a god. A lot of people still play it that way, and that's perfectly fine. But it can be more meta than that. Warlocks, they actively have to make a pact with their entity. And there could be some worship going on kind of a thing, but like someone could make a pact. Great Old Ones are a great example. Or Great Old Ones, I guess, are more of an example of like someone like somewhat worshiping their patron who grants them their powers, because a Great Old One is going to regard a mortal as we would regard like a gnat, right? Or like an ant. It has little to no effect on your life. You might not even know it exists, but it is drawing a tiny bit of power from you in that, you know, we drop our crumbs and the ant gets to eat kind of a thing. But like a fiend would be one where like you go out and you make a deal with a devil or a demon to get your powers. And that's a very transactional relationship, whereas the faith that a cleric has is very much like, I believe in this aspect or this deity, and that's how I get my power through that. Warlocks are basically crippling, gambling, death, guilty, receiving power from another world entity. You know, that's true. And that's another thing. A lot of time, a deity for a cleric, if you are worshiping a deity and you want to derive your power as a cleric from a deity or from a god, it is not transactional. It's very much like you have the power because you believe in me with such, with your entire being kind of thing. Generally, and how it's kind of supposed to be, is that a warlock, you have to do something for your patron or they will just cut you off. Great Old Ones are kind of a weird one in that like there's not a whole lot you really need to do. Generally you're a little kind of fucked up, but like for a fiend, you would need to like give them something in return. But anyway, yeah. I'm gonna take a drink of water while that ad runs real quick. That's sort of what my thought process is for that. Excuse me. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay, I'm gonna pull up Flatwoods Monster while the ad is running, and because that's gonna be the next one. Flatwoods Monster is gonna be I don't know what to do with the Flatwoods Monster. It's a weird one. It's a very weird one. I guess it is technically an alien, isn't it? What's it going to be, actually? That's gonna be a weird one. It's gonna be a weird one. So like there's some explanations to this one. It's gonna be weird still, but yeah, no, it's gonna be a very interesting one. Okay. All right, we paused for a second while we waited for the ad to run out on Twitch while I was looking at the Flatwoods Monster. Welcome back. The Flatwoods Monster is gonna be weird. That's basically what I came down to as I was reading through this one. So the Flatwoods Monster is a creature that was seen in 1952. Two brothers and their friend saw a bright object cross the sky and land on a local farmer's land. They went to someone else's home where they told a story, kind of a thing. They reached the top of the hill. They went to investigate. They aimed a flashlight in a direction, and they momentarily saw a tall, man-like figure with a round, red face surrounded by a pointed hood-like shape. And so this is sort of like the general idea that you get. Now, this one is fairly, I guess, quote-unquote, well-explainable in that it was probably a barn owl sitting in a tree, kind of a thing. But Flatwoods Monster is one of the, I guess, most well-known cryptids in the States. So, also featured in Dawn to Dawn recently. That's actually in the Wikipedia page. The very last line says, it was featured in the second episode of the anime Dawn to Dawn as an antagonist. And it's like, of course we're gonna have that now. It doesn't sound like it really do anything. The group said they smelled, descriptions varied. In an article based on his tape-recorded interviews, a UFO writer described the figure as approximately 10 feet tall with a round, blood-red face, a large pointed hood-like shape around the face, eye-like shapes which emitted greenish, orangish light, and a dark black or green body. Another one described the figure as having small claw-like hands, clothing like folds, and a head that resembled the ace of spades. Another story, when the figure made a hissing sound and glided toward the group, one of them screamed, dropped the flashlight, and they ran away. The group said they smelled a pungent mist, and later said they were nauseated. A search site of the reported monster, as a local sheriff and deputy saw and heard and smelled nothing. Came to discover skid marks and odd gummy deposit, which are something attributed to an enthusiast group. Evidence of a saucer landing. So a lot of people think that the Flatwoods monster is an alien, right? It's just a weird one. I don't even know where to begin with this, honestly. Just a big hissed and glided towards them is a weird part that's throwing me off here. Pungent mist? What if it was like a circle of spores druid? Right? Like it has it had that little like aura around it. Gotta go get some work done. Good luck with the rest. Thanks a lot, Ricky. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck with your work. Good luck with getting that done. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Take care of yourself. Circle of Spores Druid is an interesting one, in that it would have that like sort of surrounding aura of pungent mist, I suppose. But that's about all it's got. Gliding toward it could be it flying also, which kind of like leads into that kind of a thing. The thing is, like, they saw like the whole like seeing something fly across the sky and it allegedly being an alien makes Druid a little weirder, but also like I feel like that's the best fit for the pungent mist, being able to glide towards someone, the weird shape and everything like that. I would think Druid Circle of Spores is the best bet for that. JR, welcome. Oh, you're good. You're only, it's not too late. We've still got a few hours to go. But welcome. Hope you had a good Saturday, a good week. Hope you had a good Saturday. Hope you had a good week. Because I said those back to back and very difficult to make out. But welcome. We're doing a Cryptids as D&D classes tier list because I love Cryptids and I love D&D. So this is what we're doing. We just did the Flatwoods monster, which I think Circle Spores Druid is going to be the best bet for it. There's no, like, Cleric's an interesting one, but there's no, like, Cleric of Pestilence or something like that. That would be the one that I would want to go with. Something like disease related or something nauseating kind of a thing. But I think a Druid's going to be the best bet for the Flatwoods monster. Just because it's kind of weird, right? All right, the Chupacabra, the good old, the classic Chupacabra. This is like, there are 3 cryptids in my mind that are like the top 3 cryptids. That's Bigfoot, that's Nessie, and that's the Chupacabra. Mothman's like a close third, but I feel like those are the 3, like those are the ones people know about, right? So Chupacabra, goat sucker. Might be just a coyote with mange, might be some weird alien lizard thing. It's a very weird creature. Where does it go? It feels very natural, right? It's definitely not an artificer. Barbarian, I'm not about. I'm not about barbarian with the Chupacabra. Bard, right out. Cleric, right out. Druid, maybe, but I'm not 100% on that. Fighter, maybe. It goes out and it just goes out and just rips sheep, goats apart, right? Monk, probably right out. Paladin, probably right out. Ranger, probably right out. Let's be honest here. Rogue, probably right out. Sorcerer, Warlock. If it's like an undead patron, that's kind of interesting. An undead patron for the Chupacabra. That's kind of an interesting thing, right? Wizard, no. Cool skeleton. Oh no, JR. I don't think it's Druid. Even though Druid might fit like kind of the best with how weird it is. When you see my bones, just hang out for a bit. You'll get them eventually. Sorcerer, no. Warlock, undead warlock is a interesting one. Like, so like it's a bloodsucker, right? Which like feels vampiric. So if it was like it had a vampire patron kind of a thing, that's very I don't know, because like yeah, like, sometimes it's like it's described as like, oh yeah, it's just like it's a coyote or a wolf with mange kind of a thing. So it's just kind of like especially the ones that are seen in like the southwestern United States, they're more dog-like. But in like Puerto Rico and Hispanic America, according to the Wikipedia page, it is generally described as a heavy creature, reptilian and alien-like, roughly the size of a small bear, and with a row of spines reaching from the neck to the base of the tail. The name comes from the animal's reported vampirism. The chupacabra is said to attack and drink the blood of livestock, including goats, which chupacabra literally means, or chupacabras literally means goat sucker. Chupa means sucks, cabras means goats. So yeah, druids of wild shapes. So that's the thing, right? But like, it's just such a bizarre creature. There's a lot of like other just weird things about it. Possibility of existence, related legends. The Ozark Howler is actually related to it. It's interesting. Grunches is a legend in New Orleans. It gets its name from the Lover's Lane called Grunch Road from the Mississippi River in the Gulf of Mexico. The road said to inhabit a creature called Grunches, similar in appearance to the chupacabra. Interesting. I didn't know about that. Anyway, the blood sucking is the big thing about chupacabras. Them being weird, sort of like lizard type, alien type things as well. Assuming we're not going with the coyotes with mange appearance. What if they were like what if they were a type of monk? I don't know what monk they would be, because there's not too many that really fit it thematically. Shadow monk, maybe? Shadow monk's an interesting one. Or the monk of the long death. Ooh, Way of the Long Death monk is an interesting one. Where it's their whole thing is it's about them like having manipulations over death and extending their life kind of a thing. Yeah, right. Druid just doesn't really fit because druids are very natural. Like I said, the Flatwoods monster's a weird one, but that's like if we went Circle of Spores druid, and that, you know, they have this weird miasma of sickness around them. Way of the Long Death monk chupacabra is interesting. It's either that or an undead patron warlock, I think. But I feel like with how quick chupacabras can be, and there's still a physicality to them, I think monk actually might fit them the best. It's a weird one, to be sure. It's a weird one, but it feels right for some reason. It just feels right. Their whole thing about manipulating the forces of life and death, or especially death in particular, and like blood is, of course, you know, the essence of life, or, you know, historically the essence of life. They get a thing called Touch of Death. There's monks, the Way of the Long Death monk, in 5th edition, they get the Touch of Death. Your study of death allows you to extract vitality from another creature as it nears its demise. When you reduce a creature within 5 feet of you to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to your wisdom modifier plus your monk level. That's just them sucking the blood. They reduce a creature to 0 hit points, they suck the blood out, they get temporary hit points. That's a chupacabra. It's a Way of the Long Death monk. It's a bizarre pick, but I'm sticking with it. That's what it is. Boy, I wasn't expecting that, actually. That took me by surprise. That's what I landed on. So yeah, a monk for the chupacabra. It's a weird one. I'm gonna get questions about. Well, I might get questions about that when I post the final frames of everything here. But yeah. Now to my mistake, the Beast of Gévaudan, which is not the Beast of Dartmoor. I'm stupid. Is the Beast of Gévaudan. The Beast of Gévaudan is one of the earliest werewolf stories, I believe. Allegedly. The thing is, it is just also a big ass dog thing. Thank you for the follow. Oh my goodness. Foolish Jig. Foolish Jig. Thank you so much for the follow. But yeah, the Beast of Gévaudan is a French cryptid. Don't got a lot of those. His historic name is associated with a man-eating animal or animals that terrorized the former province of Gévaudan, consisting of modern-day department of Lozère and part of Haute-Loire, in the Margeride Mountains of south-central France between 1764 and 1767. The attacks, which covered, this is from the Wikipedia of the Beast of Gévaudan, by the way, which covered an area spanning 90 by 80 kilometers, were said to have been committed by one or more beasts of a tawny russet color with dark streaks or stripes and a dark stripe down its back, a tail longer than a wolf's, ending in a tuft according to contemporary eyewitnesses. It was said to attack with formidable teeth and claws and appeared to be the size of a calf or cow and seemed to fly or bound across fields towards its victims. These descriptions from the period could identify the beast as a young lion, a striped hyena, a large wolf, a large dog, or a wolf dog, though its identity is still the subject of debate. Sent to bone to the ones on the front line, they appreciate it. The lads appreciate it. The Kingdom of France used a considerable amount of wealth and manpower to hunt the animals responsible, including the resources of several nobles, soldiers, royal huntsmen, and civilians. The number of victims differs according to the source. A 1987 study estimated there had been 210 attacks, resulting in 113 deaths and 49 injuries. 98 of the victims killed were partly eaten. Other sources claim the animals killed between 60 and 100 adults and children and injured more than 30. Victims were often killed by having their throats torn out. The beast was reported killed several times before the attacks finally stopped. So, the first attack was in 1764. A young who was attending cattle in the Mercois forest near the town of Lorraine in the eastern part of Gévaudan saw a beast like a wolf, yet not a wolf, come at her. However, the bulls in the herd charged the beast, keeping it at bay. Yeah, so there's a part of this whole legend. There's a lot on the Beast of Gévaudan. Also, a song by Powerwolf. They took the tale of the Beast of Gévaudan and did a very good song on it. Really good. I love the Beast of Gévaudan song. But there are parts of this tale where they get some hunters, they go and they find the thing and they shoot it, and normal bullets didn't work. Allegedly, the thing that finally killed the Beast of Gévaudan was a silver bullet, which is where, like, part of werewolf lore kind of comes from. To my understanding, it comes from the elimination of the Beast of Gévaudan, and again, leading into the idea that this was a werewolf, some sort of supernatural being. Big wolf, unable to really kill it, kind of a thing. It took a lot of people, like to the point where King Louis XV like put a bounty on it, basically. It feels like a barbarian with how resilient this thing was, and how big it was and how ferocious it was. It feels like a barbarian, where like the only thing that really took it out was something it was weak to. That's what I'm thinking, Foolish Jig. We have 3 barbarians. We have a Path of the Beast. We have a Path of the Beast. I think Bat Squatch also ended up being a Path of the Beast. We're gonna have a lot of Path of the Beast barbarians, but that's like the only one that really fits. Druid, like kinda, because it's a big wolf, allegedly. But the Path of the Beast barbarian's really the only one that really fits the Beast of Gévaudan. Yeah, it's just really, it's a tough one. Well, it's not a tough one. It's just I don't want to have 1,000 barbarians. But it's really the one that only really fits it. Big, ferocious, tough as hell to kill. Like, that's just a barbarian. Speaking of werewolves, aren't they technically immune to fall damage? Rules as written, yes. Because fall damage in 5th edition does bludgeoning damage, does non-magical bludgeoning damage. But like at that point, so would like taking 2 plates and like squishing a werewolf would also do the same, because that also technically does bludgeoning damage. It's, yeah, rules as written, werewolves in 5th edition are immune to fall damage. because the player's handbook explicitly outlines that fall damage is just a form of bludgeoning damage, and it's non-magical, so you get the werewolf's immunity to all things that aren't silvered or magical. It means they just don't get hurt by taking the long fall. I think in my mind, I would rule it differently, but rules as written, yes. Werewolves are like squirrels, they can survive terminal velocity. Just throw a werewolf out from 400 feet up and they're fine. What if the floor is silver? No, now you're talking. Now you're talking. You drop them on some silver spikes. Now you're talking. Sonia John, hello, welcome to the stream. We're doing Cryptids as D&D 5th edition, specifically classes. We just went through the Beast of Jeveldon. It says Beast of Dartmoor. That's because I'm an idiot and I typed it incorrectly. But that's the Beast of Jeveldon, one of the earliest werewolf tales in recorded history. And so that's what we're going with. Path of the Beast Barbarian. That's just what it is. We have our first plesiosaur-esque water inhabitant creature. Champ, the Lake Champlain monster, which is basically an American Nessie. Let's see. Lake Champlain monster. Champ, folklore. Champ, or Champy, is the name of a lake monster said to live in Lake Champlain, 125-mile, whatever, shared by New York and Vermont, with a portion extending to Quebec, Canada. The legend of the monster is considered a draw for tourism in the Burlington, Vermont, and Plattsburgh, New York areas. Over the years, there have been over 300 reported sightings of Champ. Oh my goodness gracious. The original story is related to Iroquois legends of giant snakes, which the Mohawk named Onyarekoa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I did not. But yeah, it's a sea monster. It's a lake monster. You've heard the story 1,000 times. It's a lake. It's a Nessie type creature. Where would it belong? You know, a sorcerer. Hang on, is there a sorcerer of the deeps? I don't know if there is. I know there's a warlock of the deeps, but I don't remember what sorcerer 5e subclasses there are. Sorcerer's origin. Never mind, it's not. There are none here. What? I haven't seen lunar sorcery. I don't have Dragonlance, to be fair. What is this? Anyway, I'm gonna look at it later. That sounds cool. I'm thinking warlock. Warlock have a patron of the deeps. One. Fathomless. Yeah, Fathomless. That's what it is. The Fathomless warlock. Is it though? Or is it just a dinosaur? At which point it's just a druid. It's just a druid, right? It's like the Beast of Busco. It's just a big turtle. It's just a lizard hanging out in a lake somewhere. It's just a druid who wants to turn into a plesiosaur. It's just a Circle of the Moon druid who wants to turn into a plesiosaur. That's all that and like what Nessie you're gonna end up being, right? Haven't played D&D, so I just have a wiki full of all the classes that I can follow along. That's fair. I remember vaguely like what a lot of the subclasses are. I might not know their names exactly, like the Fathomless, but I knew there was one where it's like, oh yeah, it's like a kraken or something like that. Like a big, it might even be like a big turtle, like an ancient world turtle kind of a thing. Could be your patron, that'd be like a Fathomless warlock, but it's just a Circle of the Moon druid. It's just a druid who wants to turn into a dinosaur. That's all it is. I know this. I know you can turn into some dinosaurs because my wife really wanted to play a druid who could turn into dinosaurs because my wife loves dinosaurs. And so she wanted to, specifically in a game that we unfortunately had to cancel before she got too far into it, wanted to turn into dinosaurs. I'm afraid Champ and Nessie are going to just end up being druids. Wants to turn into a plesiosaur to skip a bone encounter, the demons spit a long time setting up, right? Or to counter the giant shark encounter. Like you have the plesiosaur go in and you fight him on like on an equal level, right? So I think Champ's just a druid, just turning into dinosaurs. That's their thing. That said, a ranger whose favorite terrain is like water and oceans, be an interesting one. But I think it's got to be druid. I think it's got to be druid, unfortunately. I think Nessie's gonna be the same thing, and I'm annoyed about it. Anyway, one of my favorite cryptids, because they're just little guys, are the Fresno Nightcrawlers. The Fresno Nightcrawlers also might be aliens, actually, but we're gonna ignore that for now. I fucking love the Fresno Nightcrawlers. They're just like walking pants. I love them. The Fresno Nightcrawler, also known as the Fresno Alien, is a cryptid that has made 2 appearances so far, one in Fresno, California, and the other in Yosemite National Park, also in California. In both sightings, it's only seen in video footage. A man in Poland has also claimed to have seen the creature. There's been another sighting in Montana. Interesting. Fascinating. But yeah, they're just little guys. I love them. I saw that video. Apparently, the DM made parts of the boat have different damages and effects. Ooh, interesting. And neat. So the description of the Fresno Nightcrawlers. They appear to be relatively short creatures, approximately 1.5 meters, so, a little over 4 feet, with most of their head being made up of their legs, as they possess an extremely small upper body. It is hard to find details in the upper body of the cryptid due to the poor quality of the footage. These are all, they're like security cam type footage, honestly. It is an extremely thin white humanoid with no arms. A larger specimen appears to have webbing connecting from each knee to the torso. The cryptids appear to have very short, thin, and stilt-like feet. The caramel area creature is tall and gray with presumably no arms and long muscular legs. It is bipedal and walks in an odd manner with its backward bending knees. It resembles the Fresno Nightcrawler. So there's also the caramel area creature, which is also similar kind of thing. I love the Fresno Nightcrawlers. They're just little guys. They're really funny to watch the videos that they're allegedly featured in. They are great. I love them. They might be aliens. They might be some weird ghosts. They might be some weird primate. Who knows? They're fucking weird. I love them. What are they when it comes to D&D? Boy, I don't even have the foggiest idea. So let's go down the line. Artificer? They don't have hands. I don't think they can really manipulate anything for like tinkering and creating magical items. If they are aliens, presumably they have some sort of ship, but there's nothing to imply that. They're never seen in or near UFO sightings, to my knowledge. So Artificer, probably not. Barbarian, most likely not. They don't seem to be... Well, granted, they're never seen around other people, so we don't know how hostile they might be. They don't seem to be big burly fighters. They don't have arms. They have legs. They could be kicking, kind of a thing. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Wizards who exclusively use Mage Hand? That's interesting. What if they're like some sort of psionic type things? I mean, what if they're psychics to some level? We'll consider that in a second. Cleric or Bard? Probably not. We don't know what they sound like, but I don't think there's anything musically inclined about them. So I don't think Bard is going to work. Though that said, a Glamour Bard is interesting in that I just love them. For no reason other than they're just little guys. Which is like, at that point, there's a charm about them that I love. Cleric? I don't think there's really anything really holy about them, kind of thing. Great Old Unwilla because alien or something? Maybe. They never feel... The thing is, again, we haven't seen them in, like, around other things or, like, in the presence of people. So there's nothing that feels, like, dark about them. So I don't know. Druid, I don't think so. I don't think there's a whole lot. Like, the Druids can't turn into whatever the hell they are. There's just nothing that resembles. They look like walking pants, like, kind of a thing. Now, Fighter, I would have said no to Fighter. Again, similar to the Barbarians, they don't seem like actively hostile or combative in nature. That said, if there's some level of like psionic, there is the Psi Warrior subclass for fighters. Which means they would have some sort of psychic abilities, which is kind of interesting. Monk is also kind of interesting in that monks can be, they're very mobile kind of a thing. Now these guys, if you watch the footage of them, they don't seem terribly mobile. They kind of like sway back and forth when they walk. But monk is also kind of an interesting one. Paladin, similar reasons to cleric. No, and barbarian. Honestly, there's not really too bad about them. Ranger, no, they don't seem like super like naturally focused kind of a thing. Rogue, there is a psychic rogue, so similar reasons to the Psy Warrior fighter. There's the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, which is also the sort of psionic-based sorcerer subclass, so that one could potentially work. Again, by virtue of their having some sort of psychic abilities. Warlock could potentially work, but I don't feel like they're that malevolent. So like a great old one. You don't have to be malevolent to be a warlock, but they don't feel like a dark entity is around them. Not like the Black-Eyed Kids. They feel like... Now, granted, the great old one does have that sort of psionic tie into things, so potentially for that. Wizard is also an interesting one. I could see them being some sort of wizard. Maybe some sort of illusion wizard kind of a thing. Fighter and rogue doesn't feel right. Wizard actually does kind of feel the most appropriate for them. Even though we don't know too much about whether or not they're like supernaturally focused or if they are just alien, but wizard feels right for the Fresno Nightcrawlers. It's like that or sorcerer, and sorcerer, I don't know what they would be for sorcerer. Like I said, Aberrant Mind might not be the worst one for them, but wizard just feels right. They feel like they're studious. They feel like they know something. I couldn't tell you why, but it feels like the Fresno Nightcrawlers know something. That might be me being a little like crazy cryptid person about this, but you got vibes when it comes to some cryptids, right? You look at a cryptid and you go, I got a feeling from this thing, and so it's just like it just feels like the Fresno Nightcrawlers know something, that they're looking for something. I don't know what it is, but I feel like they're looking for something. Like I said, I don't know what it could be. I don't know how intelligent they seem. The video footage that we have of them, they're just wandering around. They're just kind of having a good old time. But that's about it. We know next to nothing about what the Fresno Nightcrawlers do or want. Now, granted, that's true of like every single freaking cryptid. That's what makes them cryptid, right? But they just feel like they're searching for something, or they're on their way to something, and it feels like, I don't know, they just feel very intelligent. So we're going with wizard. We're going to go with wizard for them. I'm gonna wait for this ad to run out on Twitch, but we have the Men in Black up next. The Men in Black are going to be a weird one. We've settled. Welcome back, Twitch, from the ad. This joke I expect to be correct. It just feels right. I was thinking about it during the ad, and I was like, I was saying this. There's some cryptids you just get a vibe from, right? And with the Fresno Nightcrawlers, I've always gotten this vibe that they're looking for something, they know something. But so like Wizard feels the best for that, just because it's like they're searching for some sort of knowledge or some sort of information. And so it's just like, yeah, like Wizard just feels correct. I think you nailed it, JR. Like, joking or not, but using the mage hand kind of a thing. But like, aside from that, just like the thirst for knowledge, or like they know something that we don't know, it just feels right for them. Now, the Men in Black are gonna be a weird one. The Men in Black, aside from being a great first movie and several mediocre movies following, are allegedly maybe extraterrestrial in nature, maybe even extra-dimensional in nature, but generally accepted that they are related to aliens. I included them on this because they are cryptid adjacent. I didn't really include like greys or the other three types of the three main types of aliens. There's greys and two others that I don't remember. But I didn't include a lot of them, but I did include the Men in Black. So I was like, you know what? They might be some weird extra-dimensional thing. They might be aliens. Who knows what it is? But the Men in Black are gonna be weird. So Artificer No, like if you go by the movie, Artificer might work, but I'm not feeling Artificer for them. Barbarian, no. They show up when weird shit is going down or when shit has happened. They are tied to black-eyed kids to some degree. I told earlier in the stream, there's a story about how an older couple had some black-eyed kids approach their house. They let them in for a little bit. Their cat started dying almost immediately. And then a few hours later, some men in black suits in a black car with black sunglasses in the middle of the night showed up and took the black-eyed kids away, which they went willingly. It wasn't like they abducted them. It's like they asked for them, they got into the car and they left. They talked weird. They thought they maybe had some sort of accent, but they couldn't place it. It's a very weird interaction, if you believe that story. But so like they show up, they do weird things. Bard might actually not be a bad one for the Men in Black, weirdly. Not so much from the musical aspect of things, but from that they show up and they're able, they're, I wouldn't say charismatic, but they have this force, this aura of their presence kind of a thing. So Bard might actually not be a bad one for the Men in Black. Cleric, I mean, in the sense that they serve potentially some sort of higher power, maybe. Druid, no. Fighter, probably not. Monk, probably not. Now, I was going to say Paladin, in that they're like a dark Paladin. Now, I said Cleric, maybe not so much, and Paladin and Clerics are very closely related. But Paladins in that they're like dark, like Death Knight Paladins kind of a thing. They go there for the weird shit, they grab the weird shit, and they leave for whatever nefarious purposes that they have, or they're trying to cover up sort of a things. So I'm kind of honestly torn between Bard and Paladin now. Ranger, not so much, though Inquisitive Rogue is very fair jig. Foolish jig. Oathbreaker, maybe not quite an Oathbreaker, but like they have a pact, like an oath to a darker entity kind of a thing. So like a conquest paladin, quote unquote evil paladins kind of a thing. They themselves aren't the conquest paladins, but they are out there for, you know, the express purpose of covering up and maintaining whatever order they think they need to maintain. But Inquisitive Rogue is also a very interesting, or like Mastermind Rogue is also another very interesting one. That is a very interesting one. Even the Psychic Rogue would also be another interesting one. Rogue does fit them very well as well, though. But like a Whispers Bard, College of Whispers Bard, where they're out there like spreading misinformation or like trying to cover up things, those sorts of things. Sorcerer, probably not. Warlock, in the same idea as the Black-Eyed Kids, that they make some pact with some sort of darker entity. But even Wizard kind of fits in that they know things. They know things, and they're trying to cover up things because they know things. The Men in Black are one of the few on this list that actually could fit into a lot of different places. There are some that are just outright no, but there are a lot in here that are potentials, honestly. I think it's between, in my opinion, like a College of Whispers Bard, some sort of like dark, evil-esque paladin order, and then like an Inquisitive Mastermind, or whatever the Psychic Rogue is, and then even Wizard. Which one feels the best is my question. Which one personally? The more I think about it, the less Paladin makes sense. Now, Paladins are a part of an order, and the Men in Black are allegedly an order of these entities, these humanoid entities, that are trying to cover up or monitor weird supernatural phenomena, especially relating to aliens. So like that's sort of a type of a thing. At that point, Fighter does kind of fit with like Purple Dragon Knight, but that's less, you know, supernatural in nature. But the more I think about it, maybe Paladin doesn't fit as well. Bard, Rogue, and Wizard. Rogue doesn't feel quite on board, especially since there's a lot of sneaking about when it comes to Rogue, even with the Mastermind and Inquisitive Rogue, as much as it's supposed to be like, you know, role-playing and getting information and masterminding and learning and doing investigations and things like that, I think Rogue doesn't fit quite as well. I think I'm gonna go with a College of Whispers Bard. in that they're an organization of information and misinformation and disinformation surrounding their specialty, which is of extraterrestrials and UFOs and things like that. I potentially other supernatural and paranormal phenomena. So I think College of Whispers Bard is the best for the Men in Black. It's a weird one. It's another weird one, and it's either that or Rogue, honestly. Maybe they might be a multi-class, honestly, like with Inquisitive Rogue or Mastermind Rogue and College of Whispers Bard. Because there is a magical element around the Men in Black, similar to the Black Eyed Kids, in that there's something off in their presence, something that's just a little unsettling about them. And so, like, I think a more magically inclined class fits that vibe a bit better, kind of a thing. So we're gonna go with that. Now, here's another weird one. Ghost deer. Ghost deer are... I don't even know if they're quite a cryptid or if they are just a spirit. Now, ghost deer are supernatural deer said to live on Mount Eddy in Northern California. This one place where you can find these things, allegedly. Possible population, 1. The description is, the ghost deer is a large white elk. Its antlers have 12 points on one side and 10 on the other. It is estimated to weigh between 240 and 250 pounds, although some believe it is to be an actual ghost. According to legend, many have attempted to shot at it, but bullets go right through it. It is said to disappear without a trace to those that see it. It's said to live, right? So yeah, it's a deer that you find in Northern California on this one specific mountain, Mount Eddy, where it's a deer that it looks like, or it's an elk, it's not a deer, it's an elk, that when you shoot at it, it just goes right through it. It's just a weird, maybe a ghost, maybe some sort of extra dimensional deer-like creature. It's a very weird one. And like I said, this was one that I didn't even really know about before I started grabbing these. It's like the only one that I hadn't really heard of prior to putting together this list. I should be a D&D monster. I think someone actually did turn it into a D&D monster. I feel like when I looked up ghost deer, there's like, if you go to like Google Images, I think someone has a D&D stat block for it. Potentially, maybe I'm thinking of a different one. I thought someone had a D&D stat block for the ghost deer, but I don't. Doesn't look like it. I think I might be thinking of something else. Maybe I don't remember. There was one of these that has a D&D stat block. Maybe it's the Snallygaster actually, because it's like dragon-esque. But yeah, there's a guy I just missed while hunting with friends. The line got really out of hands. Right, right. A wizard uses illusion magic. Oh, that's fair. That's an interesting one. That is an interesting one. Because there's really nothing else that fits that well, right? Artificer, right out. Barbarian, right out. Bard, right out. Cleric, honestly, right out. Druid, no. Fighter, no. Monk. Shadow Monk? Shadow Monk would be interesting, actually. Paladin, no. Ranger, no. Rogue, no. Sorcerer, no. Nothing for sorcerer. Warlock, no. Wizard does feel best. It being just a deer makes me less inclined to do wizard, because there's nothing. I think about a ghost deer. I think of a deer that you shoot at and it just vanishes. That's not a wizard to me. A shadow monk is able to like just vanish in the shadows, kind of a thing, right? Their whole thing is that they can teleport between shadows. Now, is there anything about teleporting? But no, it does disappear without a trace, though, which could also be a ranger. They're very good at passing through terrain without leaving traces. There's also Way of the Astral Self, which isn't quite the same thing, but it's like, you're able to like have an astral part of your form with it. I don't know if that really quite fits, but like a shadow monk is interesting in that it's able to, you know, vanish without a trace kind of thing. Now, again, also actually apparently you can use your key. I forgot about this. I haven't looked at shadow monk for a while. You can cast pass without a trace, which means it's able to, you know, not kind of thing. Appear with the mislead spell. That's fair. That's a fair one. Monks also have the thing where with deflect missiles, where they're able to reduce damage to 0 if they're shot at with a ranged weapon. I like the idea of it having an illusion, though. Yeah, it's just an illusion. Druids can also learn illusion magic, and then projecting a ghost deer to like, misdirect away from it might be more appropriate. Just because it is a deer, right? And a deer, I've told this idea of giving like animals classes, like beasts in 5th edition classes to make them a little bit more interesting for my players whenever they go up against them. So if it was like another deer, like an albino deer or elk, whatever, with a few levels in druid, so it just knows how to cast some sort of illusion spell, right, to protect itself. Is kind of interesting because I like the illusion idea, JR. I just don't know if wizard quite fits with it. I think we're gonna go with druid for the ghost deer, and it's gonna be, I don't know what type of druid it would be. Which is a massive troll. Fair. I think we're gonna go with druid, but we're gonna go with that they have some of those illusion type spells to protect itself, and just is able to, you know, it projects an illusion of an albino, of a pure white deer. Yeah, I think druid's the best fit for a ghost deer. Okay, a bit of tomfoolery, if you will. Got really tired of all the hunting. They make a bunch of fake deer. That's fair. They just have a little bunch of illusions of deer running around this one specific mountain in California. Okay, here's, I don't know how much of a niche one this is. The Hopkinsville Goblins. Another, there are more aliens on the list than I thought, honestly. The Hopkinsville Goblins, or the Kelly Hopkinsville Encounter, is, there's a family in Kentucky. I believe it's Kentucky. They were out during a family reunion. They, and a bunch of them went out and they started walking in the woods because they live in the middle of nowhere. Just went out for a walk, you know, just after dinner, hanging out, having a good time. They went out for a walk. They saw this light or this craft descend upon the mountain into the forest. And then they were just harassed by like a handful of these creatures. For like throughout the night. So it's called the Kelly Hopkinsville Encounter, also known as the Hopkinsville Goblins case or the Kelly Green Men case, was a claimed close encounter with extraterrestrial beings that occurred near the community of Kelly, near the communities of Kelly and Hopkinsville in Christian County, Kentucky, during the night and early morning of August 21st to 22nd, 1955. It is regarded as one of the most significant and well-documented cases in the history of UFO incidents, but there's no real physical evidence about it. We're going to be honest here. Misidentification phenomena such as meteors and owls, and the U.S. Air Force classified the alleged incident as a hoax of pseudoscience to help students distinguish truth from fiction. So yeah, it's kind of whatever. On the evening of August 21st, 1955, 5 adults and 7 children arrived at the Hopkinsville police. This is from the Wikipedia. Police station claiming that small alien creatures from a spaceship were attacking their farmhouse and that had been holding them off with gunfire for nearly 4 hours. 2 of the adults claimed that they had been shooting at a few short, dark figures who repeatedly popped up at the doorway or peered into the windows. So just a few of them. A paper amplified the number from like 12 to 15, which like, yeah, whatever. Concerned about a possible gun battle between local citizens, the police officers, 5 state troopers, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police officers from the nearby U.S. Fort drove to the farmhouse located near the town of Kelly in Christian County. Their search yielded nothing apart from evidence of gunfire and holes in windows and door screens made by firearms. The next day, neighbors told 2 officers that the families had packed up and left after claiming the creatures had returned about 3:30 in the morning. It was a bunch. The story is allegedly that this family went out, saw a UFO land, and then a few of these small creatures who looked vaguely like this, small gray creatures, 3 to 4 feet tall, gray skin, but maybe a metallic sheen to them, with big ears, just harassed this family for hours, looking at the door, trying to get in, like trying to get in through windows. It was just, and they were just, being Kentucky and being the United States, were just blasting at them, just trying to get rid of them. I realized there were more aliens on this list than I thought there was, but it's such a funny fucking story to me. It's just, like 5 to 6 of these little alien goblin gremlin creatures just like skittering about trying to get into this house, and just this family just fucking shooting through their walls, their windows, their doors, like everything. Kentucky family harassed by goblins opens fire. It's exactly what it is. It's such a funny fucking story to me. But at that point, the Hopkinsville goblins, they feel like they might be some level of rogue, maybe. Just a bunch like skittering about, but also at that point, like potentially even like fighters, in that they were. The thing is, it seemed like there's no, in the story that I know of, or what I've read and learned about the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, is that they were just trying to like get in, and they just couldn't, but they weren't doing it maliciously. They were just kind of skittering about, kind of a thing, right? Monks using deflect projectile fair, just blocking them off. I feel like in one of the stories that I heard, one of them got blasted, like it took a shotgun, like buck straight to the chest, and just got up and it was fine. Which at that point, like a barbarian or something like that. Non-binary, welcome to the stream. Hope you have a good Saturday. Hope you had a good week. We're doing Cryptids D&D classes. We're discussing the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, the Hopkinsville goblins now, which is a bunch of aliens. I say a bunch, it's like a handful of aliens, alleged aliens, arrived in this semi-remote, or around the semi-remote home, and this family and a few of their friends just started blasting, just started shooting at them. The imaginary aliens are real, but rather than destroying us, they're just trolls, right? They're just menaces. It's like wizard doesn't feel right, warlock doesn't feel right, sorcerer doesn't feel right, rogue maybe, ranger no, paladin no, monk maybe, fighter maybe, druid no, cleric no, bard, barbarian, artificer all no. I think monk, fighter, and rogue are gonna feel the best for these, just because it was just it's like a semi-invasion. Like they were kind of putting this house under siege. Like they were trying to get in, they couldn't get in because they're getting shot at, and they just were just harassing this group of Kentuckians. It's very funny to me. I feel like, oh boy, what is? Are the Moses plagues people? There's a bunch of locusts, but the original text says locust, right? Feels very self-inflicted. Yeah, they just locked themselves and it's so fucking stupid. I love it so much. Rogue feels the best because there's some stories about them like being on the roof, like I could hear them on the roof, like trying to like figure out how to get into like the second floor, or like they were peeking down from the top of like the entryway into the house. I feel like Rogue is going to fit the best for the Kelly Hopkinsville goblins, just because it's just them being menaces and them trying to get into a house. It's very funny to me. But yeah, we're gonna go with Rogue, I think. Like I said, monk and fighter. Though I will say monk also does fit in that, you know, getting on top of like buildings and things like that, like scaling and so that level of acrobatics, that level of athleticism, of dexterity. Oh boy. I feel like rogue is kind of a thing though. I feel like rogue like vibes better for the Hopkinsville goblins. Just alien door-to-door salesman. They're fuck. Can you imagine intergalactic door-to-door salesman? That's the worst. I think we're gonna settle with rogue. We might not end up with any fighters, but whatever. We're gonna settle with rogue for the Hopkinsville goblins just because it's funny. All right, let's go to the Big Daddy. Bigfoot. Now, common sense says that Bigfoot should be a rogue. Scout rogue. Can't find the damn thing, no matter how big it is and how many people see it. You can't find it. It's good at hiding, right? Ranger also fits that very well, though. Ranger also fits that very, very well. Because it's out in nature, it knows its territory way better than you ever could. And it's good at navigating it without being slowed down, without getting caught, hiding its tracks. Those are the two that make the most sense on a surface level. I posit you that Bigfoot is an Oath of the Ancients paladin. And Bigfoot's job is to protect nature and be a champion of the natural world. With the size of Bigfoot is, allegedly, and what it is capable of doing, and the signs we've seen of it, and how protective it can be, allegedly, over its territory, I posit that Bigfoot is an Oath of the Ancients paladin. And like I said, their oath is the protection and preservation of its territory. It still knows its territory better than you do. It still is able to hide within its territory, but its whole thing is protecting nature. And I think that's what I'm going to settle with. This is a weird one. This is one that I think a lot of people are going to disagree with. But that said, I do understand that Ranger and Rogue fit very well for Bigfoot. I would even say Barbarian and Fighter could fit it very well. Hell, even a Cleric with under the Nature Domain would work. Would be very well. But I'm going with Ancients Paladin. That's my decision for Bigfoot. Druid would also fit because they're also about like protecting nature, the boundaries between, you know, the preservation of nature and preventing civilization from overcoming nature too much and all that. So Druid also fits, but because it's cool, Oath of the Ancients Paladin. And that's what I'm going with. Wolf, welcome to the stream. Hope you have a good Saturday. Hope you have a good week. We're doing Cryptids as D&D classes. I just put out my spiciest take of the day in that I don't think Bigfoot is a ranger or a rogue or a druid or a cleric or a barbarian, in that I think it's actually a paladin with an Oath of the Ancients. And that's what we're doing today. That's what I'm sticking with. And also because I don't think we're gonna have any other paladins. I don't think we'll have any other paladins, honestly. Like the other Bigfoot-esque creatures on this list, like the skunk ape and the Ohio grassman and Momo, they're more vicious. Some of them probably be barbarians. Ranger might even, or the skunk ape might even end up being like a swarm ranger. I don't remember exactly what that one is called. In that sort of thing. But yeah. D&D? Yeah, we're talking about D&D. Wolf doing Cryptids as D&D class, Dungeons and Dragons classes. But anyway, so we're going with that. The noble jackalope, the humble jackalope, the brave, the courageous jackalope. I do not know where to put this thing. Swarmkeeper, that's it. Just because it stinks and it attracts a bunch of pests and it's in Florida. So Swarmkeeper kind of fits for that, right? Anyway, the jackalope. The jackalope's a weird one. I actually don't know where to put it. It's definitely not Artificer. Few of these have the potential to be Artificer. The only other one that could potentially be Artificer is probably Injured Cold at this point. Well, maybe Tommy Knockers. But we'll see about that. That's fine. That's what we're talking. We're talking about Cryptids too. Supposed to be talking about Cryptids and then trying to figure out where they would be in a TTRPG party. So yeah, it was just having an easy day back from being gone for a week. But the Jackalope. Boy, I do not know. I think the Jackalope I'm gonna have to place based on vibes, I think. Because the Jackalope is just a rabbit with antlers. That's all it is. That's all a Jackalope is. Barbarian, I don't think it really fits. I mean, it's similar to the Ahul in that and Bat Squatch in that it's animal with a different animal thing to it, right? But I don't think it really fits the idea of a barbarian. Big, burly, fighty kind of a thing. Bard, I don't think so either. Cleric, no. Druid, potentially. Eloquence Bard because the answers are so majestic. That'd be funny. That'd be fair. It doesn't vibe right for Bard. Druid, but it doesn't vibe with Druid either. Fighter, not really. Monk, might be kind of interesting. Paladin, no. Ranger, maybe. Rogue, maybe. Sorcerer, not really. Warlock, not really. Wizard, not really, no. Like Druid, antlers and druids kind of go hand in hand, right? That's just kind of, they got a little like antler crown or they got antlers coming out. It's the thing. But I don't know if they really fit Druid. I think it's like Monk is kind of interesting. I think I'm biased because I had a Herondon, a rabbit folk monk that I played. And I loved playing as him. So I think that's my bias sneaking in to why I think Monk would fit with the Jackalope. It's like that's purely what it is. Ranger, it feels like a very naturalistic creature, right? Like it's just out there. It's just out there, right? Rogue, I don't really know either. I don't really feel like it fits anything rogue-ish. Scout Rogue would be like the best thing, but that's because that's the natural quote-unquote rogue. I'm taking a drink of water, excuse me. Excuse me. I feel my throat getting dry, especially because I also still have a hard time talking. But the humble Jackalope, I feel like it vibes best with Ranger, though. I'm gonna pause for a second here while I wait for the ad to come back, but we'll talk about this in a second when they come back. But I feel like it just vibes best with Ranger. I actually don't know too much about the lore of Jackalopes, if I'm perfectly honest. It's a thing that I've known about since I was a kid, but I've never really looked into it too much. It is a mythical animal of North American folklore, described as a jackrabbit with antelope horns. Jackalope is a portmanteau of jackrabbit and antelope. Many jackalope attachment mounts, including the original, are made with deer antlers. Fearsome critter. Wolpertinger. What's a Wolpertinger? Hang on. German folklore, a Wolpertinger, also called a Wolperdinger or a Weiperdinger, is an animal said to inhabit the alpine forests of Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg in southern Germany. Huh, interesting. I mean, yeah, that's definitely just a rabbit with wings and antlers. Interesting. Interesting. Welcome back, Twitch. I was looking up Jackalope because I didn't know a whole bunch about its history, I guess. But interesting, yeah. Anyway, I think Ranger vibes best with a Jackalope. I landed on this because I was trying to think about like where I felt like it vibed. It just felt right. And Monk didn't really feel too right. Rogue didn't feel too right either. I think a Ranger fits the best for Jackalope. Just feels like it's the right place for it. It's just a rabbit with deer antlers, and it's just kind of like, you know what? It's out there. It's out in the wilds. I think it's just a Ranger. I think it's just a Ranger. And I think that's where I'm going to land on that. I don't know what ranger it could be. Probably just basic, bog standard, maybe just hunter ranger, but just a ranger, right? I think that's where we're going to land on it. Next up, we have the Jersey Devil. One of the probably top 5 cryptids out there, yeah, as far as lore and story goes. It's just a thing, right? All right, so this is the Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, is a legendary creature that inhabit the forests of the Pine Barrens in South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that of a bipedal kangaroo-like or wyvern-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat-like wings, horns, small arms and clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and a forked or pointed tail. It is also said that it has a strange elongated body and a thick tail. It has been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. Jersey Devil is very fun, potentially one of the most frightening cryptids on this list, if I'm perfectly honest. But there have been many claims of sightings and occurrences involving the Jersey Devil. Loads of them, tons of them, dating back to 1820, it looks like. Yeah, and then all the way up through like 1960, a wave of sightings in 1909, there's a load of them. So yeah, I just harass people. That's great. Fucking the Kentucky, the Kentucky, the Hop. I used to call them the Kentucky Goblins, but apparently they are specifically the Hopkinsville Goblins. But anyway, yes, the Jersey Devil is one of the most famous cryptids, legends, folk tales in the United States. I think it's a lot of fun. It's creepy. It's spooky. It has several different origin stories. All of them bad. Not bad in that they're poorly written, but bad just that it's a bad time for those involved. It's just spooky. It's scary. And it's a good one. Now, the Jersey Devil. Now, where would it fit in a D&D class? Artificer? Definitely not. Barbarian? Potentially, but I don't really think so. The Bard with its shriek is kind of an interesting one. It might fit sort of like as a, bardic inspiration, being vocalized kind of a thing. Might fit with something like that. Cleric? I don't think so. Not really. Druid? No. Fighter? No. Monk, in that it's fast? Maybe, actually. Monk might not be a bad one. Paladin? No. Ranger? Not really. Rogue? I mean, maybe, sure. Sorcerer? No. Warlock is an interesting one, in that it might be tied to some other dark patron kind of thing. Nella, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a lovely Saturday. Hope you had a good week. We're doing Cryptids as Dungeons & Dragons classes today. We're working on the Jersey Devil right now, trying to figure out where he's going to fit. Wizard, I don't think he's really going to fit. So I'm down to, like, Bard, which is just an interesting one. Monk, Rogue, and Warlock. Warlock in being some sort of dark pact, maybe a fiend or a great old one, to create... But like as part of the pact is you're disfigured. This creature was disfigured in some way to have all these different elements tied to it, right? It's just sort of an amalgamation type of creature. Rogue in that it's good at sneaking. Monk in that it's fast, and Bard because it is known to have a blood-curdling scream. The Eastward Demon on this list? I do not. What's the Eastward Demon? Let's look that up. Eastward Demon. I don't see anything on that. I don't see anything on that one. Cryptid. Yeah, I don't see anything about that. About the Eastward Demon. Can you get the free games? Hell yeah. I think I need to do that. I keep forgetting to do that, honestly. But anyway. A lot of the things here, like I said, there's a lot on what it could be, kind of thing, or like the origins of it. Some of the origins are Mother Leeds' 13th child. Popular folklore: the Jersey Devil originated in a Pine Barrens resident named Deborah Leeds, known as Mother Leeds. Legend states that Mother Leeds had 12 children, and after discovering she was pregnant with the 13th time, cursed the child in frustration, declaring the child would be the devil. In 1735, Mother Leeds was in labor on a stormy night while her friends gathered around her. The 13th child was born normally, however, transformed transformed into a creature with hooves, a goat's head, bat wings, and a forked tail. Growling and screaming, the child beat everyone with his tail before flying up the chimney and heading into the pines. In some versions of the tale, Mother Leeds was supposedly a witch, and the child's father was the devil himself. Some versions of the legend also say that local clergymen subsequently attempted to exorcise the creature from the Pine Barrens. So literal, actual demonic possession kind of a thing, which would fit more with the warlock side of things. Prior to the early 1900s, the Jersey Devil was referred to as the Leeds Devil or the Devil of Leeds, either in connection with the local Leeds family or the eponymous Leeds Point in South Jersey. Mother Leeds has been identified by some as the real-life Deborah Leeds, on grounds that Deborah Leeds' husband, Japhet Leeds, had named 12 children in the will he wrote during 1736, which is compatible with the legend. Deborah and Japhet Leeds also lived in the Leeds Point section of what is now Atlantic County in New Jersey, which is commonly the location of the Jersey Devil's story. So yeah, it's just kind of a thing where kids are born, they're given things like that. Yeah, whatever. The Leeds Devil, it's just the origin about this kid. Born as a devil, kind of a thing. That's the running theory about the origin of this creature. So at that point, if we're going with that it is an actual, like, demonic possession, Warlock would fit the best, actually. It's a pact with a fiend type, with a fiendish entity. Devil, demon, what have you. If it's the devil himself, it'd probably be like Asmodeus, however you pronounce it. But probably Warlock at that point. You already got him? Nice. Hell yeah, though, still. Even still, you already got him. Good to go. There's a video made by this YouTuber, Pastra, the Eastward Demon, appeared on a series, the YouTuber named Dreams of a Insomniac. Haven't heard of that at all. Might have to look into it, but yeah, I've not heard of that at all. But I think Warlock fits best with the Jersey Devil, given that origin story where it's a child, the 13th child of a woman who cursed it. Allegedly also, if it was more like Devil's Child and she was a witch, if you go with that story, both just fit in line with a cursed or entity that made a pact with something. So I think Warlock probably with a fiendish patron fits the best for the Jersey Devil. And it's just been cursed to look like that. Now, the Loveland Frog. Those of you who know about the Loveland Frog, it's a frog, humanoid-esque frog creature in Loveland. I think it's Ohio. Loveland Frog. We're 100 free games. I mean, yeah, that's what happens. Yep. Yeah, it's just what it is. You end up with a bunch of free games from Epic or other places, and you're good to go. You watch, maybe you can stream watching it in your Halloween. I don't like to stream, like, I have opinions on doing React content. It feels like I'm just stealing other people's content. Even if I give them credit and I link to it and everything like that, it feels, not that I haven't done it in the past, but doing like a full series watch, I'm like, kind of a thing, right? I don't know. I'll probably check it out though. That's like on my own. But I don't think I'll stream it probably. But anyway, the Loveland Frog. In Ohio folklore, the Loveland Frog, also known as the Loveland Frogman or the Loveland Lizard, is a legendary humanoid frog described as standing roughly 4 feet tall, allegedly spotted in Loveland, Ohio. In 1972, the Loveland Frog legend gained renewed attention when a Loveland police officer reported to a colleague that he had seen an animal consistent with descriptions of the Frogman. After a reported sighting in 2016, the second officer called a news station to report that he had shot and killed the same creature some weeks after the 1972 incident and identified it as a large iguana that was missing its tail. So the Loveland Frog is just a big ass humanoid frog thing in Ohio. Action series. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't want to just watch it on stream at that point. That's even worse than not doing a React thing. Just sitting and watching something on stream. That's even like, yeah. At least a React thing is like where I sit and I talk and do like a, Mystery Science Theater level thing where we sit and watch it and I talk about it. But if I just sit and play it, it's even worse. Those are the worst types of Reacts where it's like, we're just gonna sit and watch this thing. I'm going to steal this content from somebody. It works for people. I know why people do it. It's very easy to make it work for you, but I'm not about that. There's a level of that, but at least I'm talking about different things. But yeah. Anyway, this is the police report from 1972. Loveland police officer Ray Shockey was driving on Riverside Drive near the Totes Boot factory and the Little Miami River when an unidentified animal scurried across the road in front of his vehicle. The animal was fully illuminated in his vehicle's headlights, and he described it as 3 to 4 feet long and about 50 to 75 pounds, with leathery skin. He reported spotting the animal crouched like a frog before it momentarily stood erect to climb over the guardrail and back down towards the river. So, it's just a frog. Allegedly. It was probably just a big lizard that got out from somebody's home, kind of a thing. But the best thing that fits for this is gonna be a druid. A druid, she's walking around like a frog, or like a big frog. It's truly the best fit for the Loveland frog. It's just, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, it's easy to classify. It's just a druid, just out there in Ohio, walking around in frog form. It's just a druid. A lot of these are going to end up druids, I think. We're already at a point where a lot of them are druids. Most of them are druids. In fact, the druid has the most in it so far. But Loveland frog, Loveland frogman, Loveland lizard, whatever you want to call it, it's a druid. Druid in frog form. Next up, we have the Grafton Monster. The Grafton Monster is one that I actually did a bit of research on because it's kind of a bizarre one. This dude was driving home late one night. I think he was a reporter. And he sees this mass of a creature just hanging out in the woods, out in the forest. And no facial features, nothing. Just a huge creature, just off in the forest. It kind of sets off this whole monster chase, trying to find it. The town gets involved, a whole bunch of people get involved, and no one can find it. No one can figure out what it was. Best theory that people put out is that it was a pile of boxes from some person driving a cart or something like that, which is a weird explanation. I don't know why that's the explanation, but this is from the Cryptid wiki. The Grafton Monster is described as being 7 to 9 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and having white seal-like skin. The monster also possesses no discernible head. The Grafton Monster's head was rested in the middle of its chest. The Grafton Monster has a very deep bellow being heard for miles. I don't think that part's true, because the last research I did, it didn't make any noise. But it was found in Taylor County, West Virginia in 1964. Basically, it's one guy got off work from a local newspaper, driving home, encountered the thing. Huge white obstruction is what he called it, with slick white skin and no head. He rushed home terrified and called his friends for further investigation at the scene. No sight of the monster, but the grass was trampled where it once stood, and a low whistling sound followed them as they investigated. A bunch of calls came in from people allegedly sighted the monster. Yeah, a bunch of people kind of started speaking up, coming forth about it. Very much a sensationalist kind of a thing, where one dude said, I saw this thing, and a bunch of people came and said, oh yeah, I saw a weird thing too. But no physical evidence was ever found. Explanation of it is maybe an escaped polar bear, but there's nothing to where it could have escaped from. Another newspaper published that it was the personification of active imaginations. May have resulted from individual pushing a handcart loaded high with boxes, walking along Riverside Drive on Tuesday night. It's a very bizarre series of the whole town got involved, the county got involved, I think, and that's it. It's just one sighting from 1964. So the Grafton Monster, with how little we know about her, what allegedly it could have been, it's just a big, almost sort of it has a shape of it. It does have a form, but being as big as it is, and being, a creature of that size, barbarian probably fits it the best. Big, burly creature kind of a thing, where it's whether or not it's that active, that hostile, that fighty, that combative, matters not. With how little there is actually about the Grafton Monster, and how it's not even really, honestly a creature worth talking about, if we're perfectly honest. I guess I did this research because once upon a time I wanted to do a cryptid podcast where I talked about different cryptids and the stories about them and possible explanations about what they could have been. Barbarian just fits the best for it, unfortunately, because all we know about it is that it makes a low noise, it's big, that's about it. So, no, I mean, reacting is very good. I'm just saying, if you really want to be a big series, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, whether it's a big series or not for that, it's just kind of things like, I watch it on my own. I like to have things where I can just do on my own, stream or not. And that seems like a thing where I would like, especially since being Halloween, fun thing to kind of like watch with my wife one night or something. We have been watching Ghost Adventures though, because we found out where we can stream Ghost Adventures and like Halloween Baking Championship, and we started watching Ghost Adventures last night again because I loved Ghost Adventures when I was younger. It's so stupid. I love it so much. I have such a good time watching Ghost Adventures. But yeah, we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with Barbarian for the Grafton Monster. What kind of Barbarian? Maybe Berserker. Probably Berserker, honestly. Very basic, nothing fancy kind of Barbarian. Now the Michigan Dogman, I'm gonna put it up here right away. I'll talk about it, but it's gonna be a Path of the Beast Barbarian. Again, it's another werewolf type creature. It's another sighting. It's another wolf-like humanoid creature. Well, let's go over what the Michigan Dogman's whole story is. This is gonna be Wikipedia for you. That's fair. I don't know. I don't want to take that content and just watch it on stream. I'm trying to figure out what to do for Halloween, but I think that's not the path I want to take, I guess. Anyway, the Michigan Dogman. In folklore, the Michigan Dogman was a creature allegedly witnessed in 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan. It was described as a 7-foot-tall, blue-eyed or amber-eyed, bipedal canine-like animal with the torso of a man and a fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. According to legends, the Michigan Dogman appears in a 10-year cycle that falls on years ending in 7. So we've got 3 years to go before it comes back. Sightings have been reported in several locations throughout Michigan, primarily in the northwestern quadrant of the Lower Peninsula. This creature is unknown to most of the modern world until very late in the 20th century. It has been stalking the area of the Manistee River since the days when the Odawa tribes lived there. First alleged encounter of the Michigan Dogman occurred in 1887 in Wexford County when 2 lumberjacks saw a creature which they described as having a man's body and a dog's head. And it's kind of just been similar to that. They even cite the Beast of Bray Road in the article for the Michigan Dogman. So again, allegedly a werewolf type thing. I don't know if there's too many other encounters with it. From what I can see, here's Mysterious Michigan, the Michigan Dogman and Encounters. There was a legend about it, reader encounter. A friend of mine was driving. Biggest guy I've ever seen. That was much bigger. As a huge head, looked like it crawled out of the deepest pits of hell. Oh, that's dramatic. This is summer of 2010, so the 7 thing obviously doesn't work. It's like a ghost story. A ghostly white dog ran by, like it was chasing something. It's a bunch of reader encounters. These are all bullshit. I'm done reading those. Immediately, I'm done reading those. But another werewolf-like creature, like I said, similar to the Beast of Bray Road. It's a Path of the Beast Barbarian. Plain and simple. It takes on elements of a wolf when it rages. That's what it is. So the Dogman is just a tall furry, pretty much that, the Beast of Bray Road, and Bat Squatch, probably. Wait, that's you're supposed to graduate. Go to my graduation, Mr. Dogman. Just invite the Michigan Dogman to your graduation. But the 7-year cycle thing is immediately thrown out the window when all these other reader reports. Now, granted, some of these reader reports were like, oh, we saw a ghostly white dog, which isn't the Michigan Dogman. That's just whatever. But if the whole 7-year cycle thing was true, that's not the case, because there was one from like 2010, there was one from 98 and 99. That's not a 7-year cycle. That's just whenever someone sees a fucking weird dog on the road. But Path of the Beast Barbarian, Michigan Dogman. Welcome back, Toast. Welcome. We just did the Michigan Dogman. It's Path of the Beast Barbarian because it's a werewolf. Now Momo, or the Missouri Monster, as it is. Missouri Monster. Kind of oh, well, thank you, Noah. I do try to keep things to myself, but I do appreciate it, and it's good to know in case I ever reach that point. But thank you, thank you, thank you. So Momo the monster, also known as the Missouri monster, or Momo for short, is a reported ape-like creature similar to descriptions of Bigfoot that was allegedly sighted by numerous people in rural Louisiana, Missouri. Oh, wait, Louisiana, Missouri, or Louisiana and Missouri? Louisiana is a city in Pike County, Missouri. So it is Louisiana, Missouri. Oh, that's weird. In 1971 and 1972, unlike some other areas with similar reports of cryptids such as the Folk Monster in Folk, Arkansas, or the Mothman in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, Momo did not become a major tourist economic folklore attraction. The description is from the Wikipedia page again. Alleged witnesses describe the creature as a large bipedal humanoid with a pumpkin-sized head, about 7 feet tall, covered in dark hair that emits a putrid odor. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that Momo was stinky. It's another Bigfoot type creature. Now, the thing is, I think classic Bigfoot as or Oath of the Ancients Paladin. This creature feels more Ranger-esque. I think maybe even more. Honestly, Path of the Spore, Circle of the Spores Druid also fits if it's the putrid stink to it, right? But I think this fits. I feel like Momo feels much more Ranger adjacent than classic Bigfoot. Los Angeles, Chile. It's just, yeah. I didn't realize that there was just a city named a state, I guess. It would be like coming across, like, I don't know, like California, Wisconsin. Like, what? But Momo to me feels very much more Ranger adjacent. Like, as it's swarm. I think Skunk Ape's probably gonna also fit in that area for me. But Momo feels more Ranger-esque to me, and I think that's where we're gonna settle with Momo. It's interesting having the pumpkin-sized head being the descriptor for Momo. It's just a very bizarre way to describe it. But I don't know. We're gonna go with that. Now, another big one, potentially even bigger than Bigfoot. Like I said, the three cryptids that come to my mind as like the top three most well-known cryptids are Bigfoot, Nessie, and the Chupacabra. But Mothman might have taken, like, in terms of like popularity, is probably ahead of all of those anymore. Mothman is a cultural phenomenon. Considering there are people who are not even into cryptids know about Mothman. That's kind of thing, right? People know about Bigfoot. People know about Nessie. People know about, they might know about the Chupacabra. I think people know about the Chupacabra. But Mothman is another one of those where it's like, yeah, people know what Mothman is. People know what Mothman is. Mothman is one of, if not the most well-documented cryptids in history, I think. I think it is one of the best documented cryptids ever. Mothman in West Virginian folklore is a humanoid creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper report was published in the Point Pleasant Register dated November 16th, 1966, titled "Couple See Man-Sized Bird Creature Something." The national press soon picked up the reports and helped spread the story across the United States. The source of legend is believed to be originated from sightings of out-of-migration sandhill cranes or herons. The creature was introduced to a wider audience by Gray Barker. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Basically, 1966 rolls around, a couple of couples are out driving, they see this big ass fucking thing fly over their car. One of them described it as a slender, muscular man, about 7 feet tall, with white wings. However, they were unable to discern its face due to the hypnotic effect of its eyes. They sped away, went to the police, and tried to report everything. Persona players love Mothman. That's true, I forget Mothman's one of the personas in that game. But yeah, Mothman is a big old, it's a big thing, right? But anyway, sorry, I got carried away. It is a flying humanoid creature, and it happened right before the collapse. When did the collapse happen? Where is it? The Point Pleasant Bridge. It's the Silver something bridge. Okay, let's just go to Point Pleasant's Wikipedia page. Gonna leave? Sounds good, Nola. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna be the wild. Oh, well, that's fair. That's fair, yeah. I miss putting effort into videos, like, not that I don't put effort into my streams, that came out wrong, but I do kind of miss, like, doing videos and, like, editing and things like that. It's just, it takes way too much time, but good luck with that. I do wish you the best of luck for that, but other than that, have a good one. Nola, take care of yourself. Thanks for stopping by for a little bit. Let's see. Where is the Silver Bridge? It's just a Silver Bridge in 1967. There's the theory that Mothman is a sort of harbinger of death or of bad tidings or what have you, in that some people think Mothman caused the bridge to collapse. Others think that Mothman was trying to warn Point Pleasant about the bridge collapsing, or that they were there sort of like because the bridge was going to cause an amount of death and despair kind of a thing. So there's a point where some level of like I said, harbinger of doom or of ill omen or warning kind of a thing, whether they caused it or were trying to warn Point Pleasant of the collapse. To that point, I do think that like a cleric to a deity of divination, or even like a wizard of divination, would be the sorts of paths I go with. I need to remember which cleric domains there are, because I think there's something that might fit with that. Knowledge, like a knowledge cleric kind of a thing, where it's about them knowing what's happening, what's coming, in order to prevent things like that, or to warn people of what is coming. I feel like maybe divination wizard might fit a bit better at that token. The school of divination being, predicting the future, looking into the future. If it's serving as a entity of warning or bringing tidings of misfortune, I think maybe a divination wizard would fit best for Mothman. Where they gain knowledge of things are to come and they try to warn people to protect them, to help them. Mothman's a very interesting one. There are sightings, well, Point Pleasant is the biggest one. There are sightings in Japan. I think there's like 3 or 4 sightings of Mothman in Japan. There's also an alleged sighting of Mothman right before or right after the Chernobyl meltdown? What the fuck was that? I just heard a big old fucking noise outside of my office on like the outside wall. That was unsettling. I didn't like that. I don't know what the hell that could have been. I live on the 3rd floor of a building. I didn't like that. The only people that watch my videos are kids who really care about the story I'm trying to tell. That's fair. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. But I mean, I don't know, you can't control who's gonna watch your content, right? You can kind of like negotiate your community. You can monitor it a bit. Sorry, I hit my mic. I feel like you can curate your community and like you can ban people and things like that, but you can't control who's gonna find your stuff and watch it at the end of the day, right? Okay, I don't know if the ads are still running or not. I think they are. I'm not sure though. But welcome back. So hang on. There's a question here. Clyde, would you rather be a curse in JJK or a sorcerer? I feel like I probably fit a curse a bit better. If we're talking about the persona that is this, I feel like a living entity from the internet would be a curse that could form, because like people's fear of the internet, or of that knowledge coming alive kind of a thing, probably fits a bit thing. I feel like that would fit. The trick-or-treaters, hopefully not from outside on the 3rd floor. Because that's worse. That's so much worse. Yeah. Also, Mark, welcome to the stream. Hope we had a good Saturday. Hope we had a good week. Hope we're having a good Saturday. We're still in Saturday, not had Saturday. Hope we're having a good Saturday. Hope we had a good week. We're doing Cryptids D&D classes today, and I'm justifying why Mothman is a divination wizard. Oh, and also, JR, what would be the best for a lobotomy corporation like game? Black-Eyed Kids, actually. Black-Eyed Kids or Injured Cold. Be really good. Be a really good one. Just because I think Injured Cold could be like kind of a beneficial one, but I think Black-Eyed Kids would be rough. It was me who made that noise. I watched the stream out outside. It's horrible. I hate that. There's nothing even to hold on. It was a really good aim. So that's been good so far. I just haven't. It's been okay. I'm running out of steam very quickly, but that's mostly because it's hard for me to talk and my voice hasn't quite recovered from being gone. But anyway, yes, Mothman is a divination wizard. They're going to learn the future and they're going to warn people about it, and that's what I'm sitting with. I feel like that one might be slightly controversial, but yeah. Here's another kind of, I guess, niche one. The Mongolian death worms. Mongolian death worms are these big-ass worms that allegedly live in the Gobi Desert, as the Wikipedia page as well. Investigations into the legendary creature have been pursued by amateur cryptozoologists and accredited academics alike, but there's been little evidence found to support its existence. It can be considered a cryptid or a mythological animal. 1926 book On the Trail of Ancient Man. Paleontologists described secondhand tales of the monster that he heard at a gathering of Mongolian officials. None of those present ever had seen the creature, but they all firmly believed in its existence and described it minutely. In 1983, a specimen of Tartar sand boa was shown to locals who claimed to have seen Olgoi Korkoi, and they confirmed that it was the same animal. So it might just be a big-ass snake, if we're perfectly honest. Going plays with? Nah, hell yeah, JR. Hell yeah. So the appearance of the Mongolian death worm is described in a book called On the Trail of Ancient Man. It is shaped like a sausage, about 2 feet long, has no head nor leg, and it is so poisonous that merely to touch it means instant death. It lives in the most desolate parts of the Gobi Desert. It's a worm that kills you. Like it, or, you know, a snake. A very, very poisonous snake that apparently just being in its presence can kill you. What the hell class is that? That's a weird one. That's a very weird one, actually. I have to turn another 7 spaghetti straps inside out, pray to whatever you believe in. Fair. Oh, that's rough. All right, so the Mongolian death worm. Spores Druid also fits. Just to touch it, like it kills you, makes you sick, kind of a thing. It fits very well. Necromancy, nah. I mean, there's nothing necromantic about it. It's just a very, very poisonous, big ass worm. And even then, it's only like 2 feet long, which again, could just be a snake. Could just be a snake. Do I want to put another freaking druid in this? I don't think so. I don't think I do. I wish there was like, hang on. I wish there was like a sorcerer, like an ooze sorcerer, right? Like a sorcerer that was descended from a poisonous, toxic ooze, or had some sort of ooze-like thing around it. And there's just nothing about that, which is just a damn shame, honestly. But Artificer, definitely not. Barbarian, I mean, no, not really. Bard is also kind of no. Cleric, no, unless it's like a death cleric. But even then, I don't think it really fits. Druid, like I said, like a Spores Druid's the closest thing we're gonna get, I think. Fighter, no. Monk, no. Paladin, no. Though Paladins do get auras, but they don't really have like poison auras. Again, missed opportunity, I think. Like, there's a niche to be filled there. Ranger, No. Like Swarmkeeper's like on the closest thing, and that's gonna be no, I don't think. Rogue, no. Sorcerer, I wish, but no. Warlock, no. Wizard, no. I think it's gotta be Druid. I think it's another Spores Druid is the closest thing we're gonna get for a Mongolian Deathworm. Though the Necromancy Word that kills Blast, of course, would be a cool villain. That's fair. Possession's difficult in 5th edition, but I mean, it doesn't mean you can't have it. You can do whatever the hell you want as a game master. Excuse me, my voice is going rapidly at this point. Talking almost straight for almost 3 hours has been harder than I thought with it, my voice being in the state it was in, apparently. But I think Circle Spores Druid is the only one that has like an aura that actively is like harming you. So I think the Mongolian Deathworm is gonna have to be another Druid. Give me a lot of Druids in these cryptids, I think. That said, we have Injured Cold. We have the Grinning Man. Another probably alien, if he actually exists, which he probably doesn't. Troubled Phantom, welcome, welcome. Hello, Skymans. Hello, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. We're doing Cryptids as Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition classes today. Wow, I'm on Injured Cold, which isn't really a cryptid, but, you know, kinda. Well, your Wikipedia page is very short. What the fuck? But yes, welcome, welcome. I'm now going to assign Injured Cold to something. Injured Cold is such a very interesting entity. Injured Cold, this is from the Cryptids wiki page. Injured Cold, commonly known as the Smiling Man or the Grinning Man, it doesn't have that here, but he is more generally known as the Grinning Man, is an allegedly humanoid entity. The nickname comes from the being's tendency to smile at almost everyone that encountered him. It is said that he still visits West Virginia to this day. The description. His habitat. Hang on. The description of the Grinning Man. He is reported to be human-like in appearance, though he is commonly associated with UFO activity and is sometimes believed to be an alien. It is also believed to be possible that he's connected with the Men in Black. In his first sighting, he was described as being over 6 feet tall and wearing a reflective green suit with a black belt. He had a dark complexion and small beady eyes set far apart. He was described as not having any nose, ears, or hair. In his second known encounter, his suit was said to be blue instead of green, but it still retained its reflective property. Other than that, he was described as looking perfectly natural with slicked back hair, a coat with the top 2 buttons unbuttoned, and having pants lighter than the coat but still the same material. He was also described as being quite tan, though not dark, and looking like any normal human being. According to reports made by Woodrow Derenberger, Injured Cold came from a planet named Lanulos in the Ganymedes galaxy, and there were 2 other grinning men by the names of Demo Hassan and Carl Arden. Oh. What's your question, Phantom? Boy, howdy. So his first sighting was in October of 1966. 2 boys in New Jersey were walking on 4th Street when they saw a surreal figure standing near a fence. As they walked closer, the figure was a tall, bald man wearing a metal green suit who was staring right at them with a huge grin. The idiosyncratic man chased them until they got away from him. UFO sightings were also reported around the area. Who's that guy standing behind you? Pivot around, looked at us, then he grinned a big old grin. According to Nightmind, the boys were kind of frightened deals again later on. They recall the man agrees he was unusually tall and had unnatural facial features, such as the lack of ears and a nose, even though most sources mentioned the New Jersey sighting, Injured Cold, and the Grinning Man would be completely different entities. Could be completely different entities. The second sighting is in November of 1966 in West Virginia, around just a couple weeks before Mothman. And this is the one that I know about. There's a man who's driving back near Point Pleasant, in West Virginia, when an unidentifiable vehicle appeared to land in front of his truck. He described it as an old-fashioned kerosene lamp chimney flaring at both ends, narrowing down to a small neck and then enlarging in a great bulge in the center. The grinning man came out of the vehicle with a dark tan, he came out of the vehicle with a dark tan. He got tan on the way down. And walked up to Derenberger, who the guy who was driving, and telepathically said his name was Injured Cold, and he meant no harm. Cold said he just wanted to know more about the human race, and he would visit Derenberger again. After the encounter, Derenberger stated that Cold revealed he was from the planet Lanulos in the galaxy of Ganymedes. Are there any cryptids from Iowa? I've lived here forever and haven't heard of anything personally. I don't know of any Iowan cryptids off the top of my head. Let me see. Iowa cryptids. Let's see if there's any. Cryptids of Iowa. Actually, no, never mind. Get out of here. Maybe big cats, dogmen, the Van Meter visitor. What's the Van Meter visitor? This might be more alien than cryptid, but let's see. He looks like a fucking pterodon. What the hell? Van Meter visitor. 117 years ago, a strange creature was said to have paid a visit to the small town of Van Meter in Iowa. The strange events occurred in October of 1903. Several respected members of the community told of a mysterious winged creature that terrorized some of the town's residents during several nights in the course of the week. Descriptions of the beast suggested that it had large bat-like wings, left a terrible stench wherever it went, and even stranger, it fired beams of bright light from its forehead. The bizarre account recalls how several of the locals attempted to shoot the beast, but their gunfire didn't appear to have any effect. This is from the wiki, the Cryptid wiki. Fed up with the menace, a group of townsfolk banded together one evening and pursued the creature to an abandoned coal mine. There, they confronted not one, but two of the beasts, which both turned and disappeared down into the gloom of the mine as the men opened fire, never to be seen again. What? So the Van Meter visitor is one, apparently. That's one I didn't know about. I learned something today. Fascinating. Back to Injured Cold. During the third sighting, during the same period in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, the Lilly family had been reporting poltergeist activity in their home, such as diamond-shaped lights. The Lily's daughter was sleeping one night and woke to see a man standing over her. It was a man, a big man, very broad. I couldn't see his face very well, but I could see that he was grinning at me. He walked around the bed and stood right over me. I screamed again and hid on the covers. When I looked again, he was gone. Amazing. That's a wild one. That is a wild one. Anyway, so Injured Cold has some connections with Mothman. Also, maybe connections with Men in Black. I feel like there's another story that wasn't listening to the Cryptid wiki, which is annoying. I feel like there's a story of an Italian man who encountered Injured Cold. But the one guy, I think Darren Berger, was allegedly taken by Injured Cold to his home planet, which is like this paradise planet. They had solved war, they had solved disease, everyone got along, everyone was happy. It was a paradise. And he wanted to know more about humanity so that his people could potentially help humanity achieve that level of paradise. So yeah, he looks scary. He's frightening as shit, but allegedly a good alien. A good alien. I concluded him. He's technically not really a cryptid, but look, the Grinning Man's too cool to not include in this list. He's so creepy, but he might be a good dude. So at that point, Injured Cold is the only one on this list that could potentially be an artificer. Well, no, that's not true. The Tommy Knockers could be artificers. But, oh boy, what do we do? Injured Cold also feels like a bard. Apparently, and I didn't know this, in the Adventure Zone, I think I saw it was Griffin McElroy played Injured Cold as a character. I don't know what that deal is, but apparently that happened. I didn't listen to the Adventure Zone or anything like that, but apparently one of them played a character named Injured Cold because why not, I guess. But so at that point, okay, let's go down the list. Artificer, potentially, if he's an alien of some sort, he has this ship that he flies around, it would just kind of make sense, right? Barbarian, I don't think so. Bard, like a glamour bard, maybe. Potentially, cleric. He doesn't feel like a holy man. He doesn't feel like any sort of like deity or anything like that. So I don't really think he's a cleric. Druid, no. Fighter, no, not really. Monk, there's an argument for Monk, I think, especially with him chasing down the two kids in New Jersey. There's a level where it's like, oh yeah, like, he chased him down, followed him, kind of a thing, whatever. Potentially, probably not. Paladin, I don't think so. Ranger, I don't think so. There's nothing really naturally related to him. Rogue, Inquisitive Rogue might be kind of interesting for him, but I'm not super leaning on that. I apologize. Sorcerer, no. Warlock, not really. I don't think so. Wizard is also another one, being studious, wanting to learn more about humanity, kind of fits with that as well. I think Indrid Cold is a bard, and I think he might be like a glamour bard or something to that effect, or an eloquence bard even. College of Eloquence, talking to people, learning about things, sharing the stories and history of his people, of his planet, of his home world. I think Indrid Cold is a bard. And like I said, whether it's an eloquence bard or a glamour bard, what have you, I think that's where the Grinning Man goes. Such a bizarre entity. But very fun, very creepy, very fun, and I love the Grinning Man stories. Next up, we are on the Montauk Monster, which the Montauk Monster I believe has been confirmed to be a hoax, but we're going with it and it'll be fine. The Montauk Monster is a body of a relatively unidentified creature that washed up in Montauk, New York. From the Wikipedia article on this, the Montauk Monster was an animal carcass that washed ashore on a beach near the business district of Montauk, New York in July 2008. The identity of the creature and the veracity of stories surrounding it have been subject to controversy and speculation. The corpse was eventually decided by experts to be that of a water-degraded raccoon. It's a very weird looking creature. It looks very bizarre. It doesn't look like a corpse of anything that we could have possibly done. And like the identifications of it, even the article lists things about like the potential identifications and why they don't quite work. So raccoon, the legs appear to be too long in proportion to the body. Well, what about a sea turtle? Sea turtles do not have fur or teeth. And this one did have fur and teeth, or tufts of fur and teeth. A rodent. Rodents have two large distinctive incisor teeth in the front of their mouths, which this one kind of did, honestly. A dog or canine, such as a coyote, the corpse is dog-like, but the eye ridge and feet do not match. They're almost kind of like flipper-like. And a sheep or ovine, although the face looks somewhat ovine in quotes, sheep do not have sharp teeth, which this one did have sharp teeth. It's just a very weird creature. I think it is probably most likely just a raccoon corpse, but it's just such a weird thing to look at. I think at that point, the Montauk Monster, granted, it's a body, right? What do you do with a body? Where do you assign a body for this sort of a thing? Maybe probably just end up being another druid, just because it's kind of weird, weird shape, or maybe even a warlock, where it's like it's the source of being like some sort of pact with some sort of entity, and it paid the price from its patron as it outlived its usefulness, kind of a thing. I think we're going with Warlock for the Montauk Monster, just because I think it's kind of funny, if I'm perfectly honest, and it really doesn't fit anywhere else. Nothing else fits this. There's nothing about it other than this is a weird corpse of an animal that we found on the beach, basically. So I think we're just gonna go with Warlock for that, and it was corrupted by eldritch energies to look weird. Next up is a cryptid that isn't actually a cryptid. I know it's not a cryptid because it started as a Tumblr story, the Knot Deer. And this is from the Cryptid Wiki page. The knot deer is a creature said to inhabit the Appalachian Mountains, with most sightings being in the state of Tennessee. The animal is characterized as looking like a normal deer at first glance, but upon closer inspection, it becomes apparent that something is off with its anatomy and behavior. The description of it again, so from the Cryptid Wiki. The knot deer is described as looking like a deer from a distance, but as one looks at it longer or gets closer, something about it is off. Their movements are described as being like a newborn deer, but appearing as an adult. Some accounts suggest the creature is double-jointed or has additional joints in its limbs. The limbs are described as longer than those of a deer, and the chest very barrel-like. The way it moves is said to be aggressive compared to that of a deer. The most defining feature, however, is that knot deers do not have eyes on the side of their head, but rather the front, like a predator. This distinction is usually the first thing noticed as off. A few accounts involve multiple eyes, though most do not. Other uncommon outliers to the typical account involve describing the head as bovine. So, it's very much the sort of thing where it's like, that looks like a deer, but the deer's a little fucked up, but the deer's just a little fucked up. And when I did research into the knot deer, you can trace this back basically to a single Tumblr post that then sort of got spread onto Reddit, and then a bunch of people have been coming onto Reddit sharing their stories about I saw a deer that looked a little weird, or I did this weird thing, and then people are like, oh yeah, that's the not deer. Allegedly, there's these stories throughout Appalachia about how, oh yeah, if you see a deer that looks a little weird, that's not a deer. That's why it's called a not deer. This is one of those things where it's like, it's creepy, it's spooky, it buys into that classic folk tale of you don't go out into the woods because there's things out there that are meant to trick you. Things that look like something you would expect, but they're wrong, they're malevolent, they're dark entities in the woods that you don't want to fuck with. The not deer plays into that full hog, wholeheartedly. That's what the not deer is supposed to be. A deer, you see deer and you're like, oh yeah, that's a deer. You see a not deer and you go, something's not correct here. Something is not right here. And there's it's that uncanny valley. It's just close enough that when you see something that's just a little weird, a little wrong, a little different than what you're expecting, you get that chill up your spine. You feel the goosebumps start to appear. You feel your hair on your arm, on the back of your neck stand on end. That's what the not deer does, and that's why the stories continue to sort of get spread through Reddit and TikTok now. And like I said, allegedly there are stories you can go up and down Appalachia, and people tell you stories of the things that's not a deer. If you see a deer and it's moving weird, or it looks at you weird, or it has eyes on the front of its head, you don't want to go near it. It's folktale, it's folklore, it is. This is one of those things where I was like, I'm like almost 100% positive it does not exist. It's often also contributed, if you see a deer that acts a little fucked up, it's probably chronic wasting disease, also known as the zombie deer disease, where prions basically start melting a deer's brain and they start acting fucking weird because their brain is getting dissolved effectively. So like whenever you see a deer do something that's a little fucking weird, and chronic wasting disease is actually getting worse. I think there's last I checked, I think it was a few years ago, there's like somewhat of an epidemic of chronic wasting disease in deer populations in certain parts of the United States. It just happens. It's just a disease. But so like those are the sort of things like that. It's a very fun story. They're a lot of fun, and I need to figure out where they go, if I'm perfectly honest. Now, something that takes on the form of a deer, but is not a deer and is actively sort of, honestly, a little bit aggressive. It feels warlock-ish for me, if I'm perfectly honest. It feels a little bit more warlock, but I'm not sure. So like Alexandria Genesis, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is actually. I got lost in the Chuckabone Joy Loop. I don't know what that is. Y'all are spouting words at me that don't mean anything. Just asking, does a Naga count as a cryptid? From Kenny Lover over on YouTube. I don't think so. There's a distinction between folklore and cryptids, right? And Naga are one of those like mythological kind of creatures that existed as legends and as myths way back in the day. Sort of like how mermaids or unicorns aren't really cryptids, because they are mythological stories that were told. They might have been quote unquote spotted back in the early days of humanity and civilization, but they're not quite technically cryptids, kind of a thing. In my opinion, I think generally speaking in the cryptozoological community, they aren't generally accepted as cryptids. They are folklore. Not deer, like I said, I included not deer here because they're kind of like a modern folklore creature. I probably shouldn't have included because they're not really a cryptid. In my opinion, I don't think they're a cryptid. I don't think they exist. It's just chronic wasting disease or deer that are a little fucked up for whatever reason. But I include them because it's a fun story, right? So yeah. Alexandria Genesis is a fake genetic disease where women are born as a Mary Sue, and it got popular with a Tumblr post, but it came from a Daria fanfic. Wow. I'd never heard of that, no. What about the oil squids? Are they cryptid? Oil squids? I don't know if those are Hydrain. Also, welcome, Kenny Lover, and the Hydrain? Oil squids. It's on the Cryptid Wiki. Oil pit squid. The oil pit squid, as its name suggests, is a weird sighting of tiny squid-like creatures in oil. In 1996, workers cleaning a sludge pit in Anderson, Indiana at the GMC Delphi Interior, this is from the Cryptid Wiki, found strange grayish-red squids of 6 to 8 inches in length swimming around in toxic liquid amongst antifreeze and automobile parts. One was caught and put in a jar that was stored in a factory, but disappeared before further research was done. No more specimens were found even after the pit was cleaned and inspected. And though this sighting was baffled people for years, causing people to believe in alien spores, they could have been mutated earthworms or massive bacteria growth, or possibly a hoax. Huh. Interesting. The explanations of this are also... here's the trick. Okay, the explanations for the oil pit squid. Could be an alien spore, that's the fringed explanation, a massive bacteria growth, or a mutated earthworm, probably the most likely. It could be an unknown parasite similar to a water bear, or a fish-like creature, or I don't know what water bears are actually called, but tardigrades? Or it's a hoax. The anomaly originated from a tabloid article, so is therefore a hoax or possibly a made-up story. That would probably be... Oh, is it from the Sun? It's probably a hoax. It's probably a hoax. If it's from the Sun is one of those tabloids that's like, don't. It's like the National Enquirer, like kind of a thing. It's like these are fun stories for entertainment purposes, kind of a thing. With there being only the one encounter of it from a tabloid article, it's kind of like, wow, probably a hoax. But it's an interesting one. I never heard about that one. That's an interesting one. Why are all cryptid photos taken on potatoes? Because if it was a high definition camera, then you wouldn't have the mystery. Anyway, not deer. What D&D class are they? They're not cryptids. They shouldn't be on this list. I admit that, but I wanted to include them because they're a modern folklore tale, and they're fun. And a lot of people, like I said, people try to have stories about them. There are people who will probably insist that they're real. They've seen it. Their cousins saw it. They saw it when it's really just a fucked up deer. They are aggressive, actually. I don't know if they're barbarians, but what if they were a fighter? What if they were a fighter? That wouldn't really explain the, like, subterfuge of it. That fits more like a rogue or a warlock. Like trying to disguise themselves as regular deer, but they're not deer. That feels more rogue or warlock, actually. Like a warlock with the Eldritch Invocation, the Many Faces Eldritch Invocation, where they can like cast disguise self at will, basically. Maybe they end up being a warlock. I think that's probably what I'm gonna end up settling on, just because it makes the most sense, unfortunately. But I think that's probably the best we can go with, kind of a thing. Just because, like I said, it fits the best for what they are. I think I'm gonna end up going with warlock for the not deer. Again, they're aggressive, they're weird, they don't quite make sense, they don't align with what we think about when we see a deer. There's some level of subterfuge. I don't know if they're really that magical, though. So like maybe they would be better suited for like a rogue. Like you know, the wolf in sheep's clothing, but they're still deer. kind of a situation. That might be the best bet we've got going, honestly. I think we're gonna settle for... I think we'll have to settle for rogue. I think we'll have to settle for rogue for the not deer, just by virtue of they're not inherently magical. They are just a weird deer creature. So warlock, while it kind of makes a bit of sense for that, I think maybe a rogue fits them better. Again, just by virtue of they're disguising themselves to I guess eat you. They're allegedly carnivorous also, so there's also that about to go into this. I think I'm gonna settle on rogue for not deer. is an illusion wizard who doesn't know anatomy. They think deer. It's like those medieval painters, the medieval artists who didn't know what cats looked like, or like how to draw a dog. But they do it with illusions. So you just have kind of a weird looking deer. I think I'm gonna settle with rogue though, because there's nothing inherently magical about the not deer. Though there are some stories about, allegedly there's some sort of supernatural paranormal thing about not deer. But I think warlock. Fuck it, warlock. I'm going off vibes on this one. Not deer feel better as a warlock. They're weird creatures. They're a little fucked up. They might be corrupted by some sort of eldritch entity. Who knows? They're weird. We're going with that. Melon heads. Does anyone know what melon heads are? Because melon heads are a very, very weird cryptid. This is the Wikipedia article. Also in Ohio, Michigan, and Connecticut, melon heads are beings generally described as small humanoids with bulbous heads who occasionally emerge from hiding places to attack people. Different variations of the legend attribute different origins to the entities. They're like small kid type things. They're on Dracula Drive apparently in Connecticut, which is funny. But yeah, they're some of the stories around these that sort of like they're kids who were experimented on and let loose kind of a thing. Gnomes. A story, it might be hydrocephalus, kids with hydrocephalus, which is like water on the brain, and it causes your brain to like, or your head to like sort of swell, and that's the melon like shape that it gives it, kind of a thing. But there's like a story about like a doctor that abused them, and they like their heads were formed bulbous because of that kind of a thing. One where a doctor was injecting more fluids into their heads. There's a lot of it is just about hydrocephalus kind of a thing, about their heads growing to bulbous proportions because of water within their brains, within their skulls. And they come out and they just get you. They just attack you from the woods. Which is just kind of funny when you think about it. You have a bunch of kids just coming out and they just get you. I think melon heads, if we're going off the whole thing is like, where it's like a doctor was experimenting on them, that also kind of fits in a warlock type vein, where their patron is this mad scientist or this mad wizard for playing D&D and experimenting on these kids, and they go mad, they go crazy kind of a thing. But at that point it's like they're like the spawn of this warlock experimenting on them. That's where they get their powers, or they're just rogues. Like they're just crazed rogues sneaking around the woods, shanking people. Like sounds bad. Like like hydrocephalus is no joke, right? It's not a joking medical condition kind of a thing. But just these kids running around getting people is kind of funny to me. I think we're gonna have to go with rogue for them, just because that's what they do. They're just kids. They come out, they get you, they go to attack people, and that's just how it is. That's just how it's gonna be. Yeah. Rogues, melon heads for rogues, I think. Warlock also fits. Wizard, not so much, I don't think. But yeah, I think we're gonna go with rogue for that. Nessie, I'm gonna put Nessie right up here right away. I talked about this with Champ. It's a plesiosaurus. It's a druid who just really likes turning into dinosaurs and hanging out in lakes. The Beast of Busco, Champ, Nessie, all druids who just love chilling out in lakes in dinosaur form. So we're just gonna go with Nessie's one of the top 3 druids, top 3 cryptids in my opinion. Like cryptids that everybody knows about, weird creature, and everybody knows it. Even if you're not into fringe shit like this, you know what the Loch Ness Monster is. You know what Nessie is. Super easy, just a druid, hangs out in a lake. Really quick, really simple, kind of a thing. Now, the Pope Lick Monster is kind of a cryptid, kind of a serial killer story, kind of a devil ghost story. It's a lot of different things. It is an urban legend, but it's also kind of regarded as a cryptid. It is also known as the Goat Man. or the Lake Worth monster. The Poke Lick monster, more commonly colloquially the Goat Man, is a legendary part man, part goat, and part sheep creature reported to live beneath a railroad trestle bridge over Poke Lick Creek in Fisherville neighborhood, or in the Fisherville neighborhood of Louisville, Kentucky, United States. Numerous legends suggest about the creature's origins, and the method employed to claim its victims. According to some accounts, the creature uses hypnosis or voice mimicry to lure trespassers onto the trestle to meet their death before an oncoming train. Other stories claim the monster jumps down from the trestle onto the roofs of cars passing beneath it. Yet other legends tell that it attacks its victims with a blood-stained axe, and that the very sight of the creature is so unsettling that those who see it while walking across the bridge, across the high trestle are driven to leap off. Other legends hold that the monster is a human-goat hybrid and that it was a circus freak who vowed revenge after being mistreated. In one version, it is said that the monster escaped after a train derailed on the trestle. Another version, commonly told by locals of the area, claims that the monster is really the reincarnated form of a farmer who sacrificed goats in exchange for satanic powers. Goat Man. This is all from the Wikipedia page, by the way. Yeah, so it's just a bunch of shit. Oh, interesting. It's actually still in use. The bridge still actually isn't used by a local for trains still. Interesting. I thought it was abandoned. It is not. Yeah. It's the Goat Man. Any number of those kind of points towards Warlock. Again, fiendish power kind of a thing. Fighter also might kind of work actually if it comes at you with a bloodied axe. But honestly, it's probably more like a Hexblade Warlock, if anything. If it's going that route. If you're going with like it's a farmer who reincarnated as a Goat Man hybrid kind of a thing, coming to kill people, Warlock kind of just fits it in general for the Poke Lick monster or the Goat Man. And that's just kind of what it be. It's just very, very, not cut and dry, but fairly cut and dry kind of a thing. Moving on, because I realize we have like we have almost only 40 minutes left before the stream is to be done, and I have to get ready for D&D tonight and talk even more. Would you believe it? So we got to kind of go through the last of these relatively quickly. Next up is the Shore Laddie, also known as the Fjorulali or Beach Walker. Is a ram-sized creature found along the coast of the West Fjords of Iceland. There's the guys in the meme where the one says, I'm disrespecting the bridge. Man, yeah, the, shit, what was it? I forgot where they're from. But yeah, no, they went to Goatman Bridge. And nothing happened there because, of course, nothing happened there. Trivia, the Shore Laddie is the most commonly sighted cryptid in Iceland, apparently. The Fjorulali has a brownish-gray fur from which muscles and barnacles grow, a feature which lends to a distinctive scrape or jingle when it walks. Thus, an unwitting traveler may be alerted to the presence of one of these beasts. The Shorelati has been reported as having both webbed feet and hooves, although which version is the most accurate is up for debate. They have a question. This is from the Cryptid Wiki. What if the Shorelati is actually the Montauk monster or related to it? It doesn't seem the whole. It eats sheep apparently, though it can't. It's said to be maybe herbivorous, but also accused of eating sheep and lambs. This is from Nature Rules. A large hairy creature found on the beaches of Iceland. Size of a ram with gray fur, covering barnacles, webbed feet, and hairless rat-like head. Honestly, it hangs out on the beaches? This just sounds like a coastal druid, actually. It's another damn druid. It's a coastal druid. It's a circle of the land coastal druid. Just hanging out, doing its thing. I guess it could also be a ranger with the coast as its favorite terrain. Oh, actually, maybe that's it. I think that's it. Maybe it's a ranger with the coast as its favorite terrain. I'm gonna go with that, so we don't have another freaking druid. It's either one of those, honestly. And we're gonna go with ranger for that one. Next up, we have the Owlman, not the DC superhero, not the Watchmen superhero. Owlman cryptid. I think Owlman is basically Britain's Mothman. Owlman is from the Cryptid Wiki. Owlman is the name given to a large owl-like humanoid entity noticeably similar to the Mothman. It lives in Cornwall, England, and has been sighted several times. The first sighting took place in 1976 in the village of Mawnan. The Owlman is sometimes seen as the English counterpart of the Mothman due to the similarities between the two. So yeah, Mothman but an owl, and in England, but British. Mothman but British, apparently. Some believe it is a creature being a barn owl, a species that commonly nests in the place. Mothman, Owlman, but British. We put Mothman, and now I don't know if Owlman is necessarily associated with catastrophes like Mothman is. I don't really have any like sightings. Let's see, 1976. Monster raising, a story originated when Tony Doc Shields, who had been involved, this is from the Wikipedia page on Owlman, a series of monster raising exploits in 1976, claimed to have investigated a report of two young girls on holiday in Mawnan, who saw a large winged creature hovering above the tower of St. Mawnan and St. Stephen's Church, Mawnan, on the 17th of April, 1976. According to most versions of the story, the girls, identified as June and Vicky Milling, were so frightened by the sight of a large feathered birdman that their father, Don, immediately cut short their family holiday after hearing their tale. According to Shields, one of the girls provided him with a drawing creature, which he dubbed Owlman. Sporadic claims of Owlman sighting in the vicinity of the church circulated in 1978, 79, 89, and 95, and according to legend, a loud owl-like sound could be heard at night in the Mullion churchyard during the year 2000. So, yeah, it's an owl type. He hangs out in churches. You know what? He hangs out at a church. Hangs out around churches. That might make Owlman our only cleric. For whatever reason, it seems like the Owlman is drawn to the holy grounds of the St. Mawnan, St. whatever's churchyard, right? The church grounds. With nothing else to really go off of, maybe Owlman is just a creature of the cloth. They're a devout worshiper of whatever deity. Maybe Owlman's our first and only cleric on this list. I think a cleric or paladin, but that doesn't feel like paladin. It doesn't feel like it was like protecting or going out of their way to like attack anything. They just saw it hanging out at the church. We're going with cleric for Owlman. That one also catches me a little off guard, but hey, you know what? Here we go. We're doing a bit of a lightning round kind of a thing. Sheep Squatch is next. Sheep Squatch is Bigfoot, but with ram horns, basically. This is from the Cryptid Wiki. The sheep squatch, also known as the White Thing, is a woolly-haired cryptid reported across numerous counties in West Virginia. It's always West Virginia. Predominantly within the southwestern region of the state. The counties with the most sightings are Boone. Who cares? Who gives a shit? It is described as being a quadruped about the size of a bear with entirely white wool-like fur. It has a long and pointed head similar to a dog, but with long saber-like teeth and a single single point is what it's supposed to say, set of horns not dissimilar to those found on a young goat. Its forelimbs end in paw-like hands similar to those of a raccoon but larger, while its tail is long and hairless like that of an opossum. It is reputed to smell like sulfur, which has been attributed through folklore to the beast being born within the TNT area in Mason County, like one of the Mothman theories, though this is not likely, and instead it may have a musk scent gland similar to those found in many species in the order of carnivora, such as weasels and skunks. So it is a sheep-like, Bigfoot-like creature, honestly. Former Navy seaman said that in 94, witnessed the beast breaking through the forest. White Thing reached the brush line and knelt to drink from the creek. Here it drank for a few minutes before crossing the creek and continuing on toward the nearby road. Observing for a while before moving surrounding brush. Two children also observed in the same year. 95 spotted a year later, this time involving a car. A couple driving through Boone County observed a large white beast sitting in the ditch alongside the roadway. As many curious passerbys might do in such a situation, they stopped their car to get a better look at it. They came to describe the creature again as mostly similar to earlier descriptions, yet they added that the creature had 4 eyes. In stark contrast to the last sighting where the sea squatch fled the scene, the creatures leapt out of the ditch and started to attack the car. They drove off quickly. Another incident 99 involved a couple of campers who were in forest at night, again in Boone County. Sheep Squatch suddenly charged out of the darkness at the campers, reacting quickly, jumped up and ran back into their house, all the while being pursued by the Sheep Squatch. Giving chase is a natural reaction of a predator when a creature flees. Its initial attack has simply been a mock charge. Why do they have that featured in this? Whatever. The White Thing stopped at the edge of the forest when they crossed it, and it let out a terrible scream that turned around and headed back into the woods. 2015, Virginia. Spotted again in the forests of Appalachia. Close to midnight by some campers. Separated by the river flowing through. First saw the beast at the top of the nearby hill and tried, but then it stood up and he alerted the other campers. Then it started running down the steep hill toward the campers, but they were separated by the river that was flowing through. They looked in horror as it searched for a way to cross, while another option began to wade through the river. Finally, they came out of the water, and the campers reported that it appeared like a bipedal dog in the chest with its fur wet from the river crossing. Then a loud, gut-based screech was heard about 2 miles off from where they were, and the sea squatch looked up in shock, just high enough so the moonlight was in its face. Campers looked out in his fear as it let out a pathetic whimper, then in a sprint ran in the opposite direction of the noise. What? Huh. Mom was calling. So sheep squatch is a fighter. Maybe not necessarily an actual fighter, but maybe honestly, probably a barbarian, actually. This thing seems feral and ready to fight. I think probably a barbarian is gonna fit sheep squatch the best. Probably maybe like just a regular old berserker barbarian, because it seems like it just fucking goes at people, just because it can. But I think a sheep squatch is a barbarian. Yeah. It's ready to go. It wants to throw down. Next up, we do have, what is this next one? The skunk ape. Now, I'm gonna put the skunk ape under ranger, and I think the skunk ape as a ranger because it smells really, really bad. That's like its one thing that it's got going for him. And I'm gonna put it as like a swarm keeper ranger. In that being so smelly, it just attracts a bunch of bugs around it, right? And that's what it does. It wanders the Everglades, because it's in Florida, because of course it is. And it's just hanging out down there, and it's got its stink, it's hanging out, it's got bugs around it, it lives in the swamp. That's the skunk ape. That's what we're saying. I don't even have to look that much into it. It's a Bigfoot-like creature that's been spotted in the Florida Everglades. And its main feature is that it stinks. It reeks, apparently. Now the snallygaster. The snallygaster is the only one that I probably shouldn't have included on this list, because the snallygaster is technically more folkloric than it is cryptid. But in American folklore, the snallygaster is a bird reptile chimera originating in the superstitions of early German immigrants, later combined with sensationalistic newspaper reports of the monster. Early sightings associate the snallygaster with Frederick County, Maryland, especially the areas of South Mountain, Braddock Heights. Who gives a shit? It basically it's a dragon-esque kind of a creature, kind of a thing. Do I have something that gives me a better description of what the snallygaster is supposed to be like? Snallygaster, so this is from Additional Creatures. Snallygaster is an odd-named cryptid from the United States that is more commonly believed to be a fictional folktale rather than an actual plausible creature due to the wild appearance of the creature described. Yet, what is being sighted and heard in the dense redwood forest is being identified as the same, if not similar, creature. What survivors are dubbing the snallygaster of the redwoods is a preposterous bird-like, almost vaguely reptilian or draconic creature. Supposed traits are a venomous bite, flight, unhinging jaws, the ability to breathe fire, and emit high-pitched screaming and other vocalizations to sound louder than it actually is. Its whooping and shrieking calls keeping up any survivor through the night. Some have tried to tame it, but with no luck. As the creature not seen phased by normal meat tamed, it might be very well able to might be a mount. Oh, what is this? This is stupid. Yeah, it's more folkloric than anything. It seems just like a horrific amalgamation of things. I think Warlock is gonna be the best bet for it. Just because it's a horrible, like I said, amalgamation of different things. This chimeric creature that can do a bunch of different things, got different elements to it. No one quite knows what it is. I don't think it's actually even a cryptid. I don't think it really exists. Most of these don't exist. Let me put this out here. I don't think any of these really maybe exist, like kind of a thing, right? I think cryptids are very fun. It's fun to think they're real, but most of these are probably hoaxes, if we're all honest with ourselves. Except for the Tasmanian tiger. That one actually existed, and it may be extinct now. That's what makes it a cryptid. But anyway. The Ohio Grassman. The Ohio Grassman is another Bigfoot. The Ohio Grassman is, loves just fucking with people. In particular, the biggest stories about the Ohio Grassman are from an incident involving a family where it just kind of harassed them for a little bit. The first prominent sighting of Grassman occurred is from the Cryptids wiki. Occurred in the small village of Minerva, Ohio, in August of 1978, when the grandchildren of Minerva residents Evelyn and Hal Clayton, along with their friends, ran inside screaming about a hairy monster they saw in the gravel pit outside. When the couple went out to investigate, they saw what the crying children had described. It was covered in dark, matted hair, sitting in the pit and fiddling with discarded trash. It was estimated to be around 300 pounds. The Claytons fled, but this would not be their last encounter with Ohio's ape-man. They would see him many times after the initial encounter. One night, he was seen peering at them through their kitchen window. Hal ran for his gun, but the primate was gone before he returned. The area was later investigated by police, and although there was no sign of the hairy humanoid, several faint footprints were observed in the mud, and a terrible smell still lingered in the air. The Ohio Grassman was later seen by the Claytons atop a hill near the strip mine at night. The next month, in broad daylight, the couple observed 2 hairy bipeds on the same hill. It was only after these reports by the Claytons were made that a startling connection was made. Days before the gravel pit incident, the Claytons' German Shepherd was found dead, its neck broken, presumably killed by the hairy beast. So yeah, it's basically like one family just constantly running into this thing. Yeah, it's just kind of another Bigfoot in Ohio that harassed this one family in particular repeatedly. I know why. I now know why Ohio became a meme about being creepy shit. So many. There's a lot of cryptids in Ohio. There's a lot of them. A lot of stories come out of there. I think we're gonna put Ohio Grassman on a ranger again. Similar to Skunk Ape, but more probably that classic ranger, living out in the woods, doing its own thing, not overwhelmingly hostile. Did kill a dog, but that just seems like animalistic kind of a thing, right? But I think ranger fits best for the Ohio Grassman. I never thought I'd have to do so many screws together my first year of fashion. I don't know. There's a lot going through them. I'm so sorry. Good luck. Good luck. All right, next up we have the Ozark Howler. This is from Arkansas. The Howler is a legendary creature that dwell in the Ozarks. According to tradition, the creature is bear-like in shape with a dark-colored, shaggy coat. Apparently, photos were allegedly received in 2015. It claimed that the images sent were a hoax, of course. These Wikipedia articles suck balls. Why are they so shit? What about the Cryptids wiki page? Here we go. According to Forrest Galante and his wife Jessica, it turns out the Ozark Howler is actually the North American red wolf. So apparently it's been kind of determined that the Ozark Howler is in fact a hoax. Just one of those things. Basically a weird-ass creature that made weird-ass noises in the Ozarks through Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. Typically described as being bear-sized, thick body, stocky legs, black shaggy hair, glowing red eyes, and prominent horns. Its cry is often described as being a combination of a wolf's howl, an elk's bugle, and the laugh of a hyena. So it's called the Howler because you would like hear it more often than anything, than you would actually see the damn thing. But apparently just a North American red wolf, according to whoever these people are, Forrest Galante and his wife Jessica. Yeah. But at that point, it's known for its howl, which leads me to think Bard, honestly. Since bards are very much known to be like vocalized type things, they're known for singing and telling stories and whatnot. Bard might fit the best for the Ozark Howler. And I think that's what we're gonna end up doing, actually, because there's really nothing else that fits. Like Druid, kind of, since it's just a creature kind of thing, Druid also does fit with that, but it's not very fighty, it's not magically inclined. Artificer, no. Barbarian, no. I think we're just going with Bard for the Ozark Howler, but it's like very much like just because of the vocalization that it has. Now, the one cryptid on this list that was an actual creature that might be extinct, though it's a cryptid status in that it might not be fully extinct in the wild, but it probably is, and it's a damn shame because thylacines are really freaking cool, is the Tasmanian tiger. The Tasmanian tiger was a species of animals that lived in Australia, on the island of Tasmania. Tasmanian tiger. Let me pull up its Wikipedia page. The thylacine, also commonly known as the Tasmanian tiger or Tasmanian wolf, is an extinct carnivorous marsupial that was native to the Australian mainland and the islands of Tasmania and New Guinea. The thylacine died out in New Guinea and mainland Australia around 3,600 to 3,200 years ago, prior to the arrival of Europeans, possibly because of the introduction of the dingo, whose earliest record dates to around the same time, but which never reached Tasmania. Prior to European settlement, around 5,000 remained in the wilds of Tasmania. Beginning in the 19th century, they were perceived as a threat to the livestock of farmers, and bounty hunting was introduced. The last known of its species died in 1936 at Hobart Zoo in Tasmania. But it's basically it's like a sort of dog-like shaped creature with horizontal stripes along its back half, little pouch. The craziest thing about it is that it has an unhinging. It has like a snake-like jaw, or it had a snake-like jaw basically, and it could sort of hinge really wide. They're so cool. They're kind of scary to look at. The thylacine could open its jaws to an unusual extent up to 80 degrees, which is just insane. But yeah, it was a super cool creature that was killed due to bounties, due to things, just people going out and killing it way too much, and over compensating for their livestock being killed. Yeah, it's just kind of a thing. The last captive thylacine lives as an endling, the known last of its species, at Hobart Zoo until its death on the night of 7th of September 1936. The animal, a male, was captured by Elias Churchill with a snare trap and was sold to the zoo in May 1936. The sale was not publicly announced because the use of traps is illegal, and Churchill could have been fined. Fuck you. Find the bitch. Find the motherfucker. The remains were not properly recorded by the museum, also because the animal had been illegally caught. They lay undiscovered for decades until it was noticed by the surgeon recorded the date from the user to mention the animal. Between 1967 and 1973, zoologist Jeremy Griffith conducted what was regarded as the most intensive search for thylacines ever carried out, including exhaustive surveys along Tasmania's west coast, installation of automatic camera stations, prompt investigations, and claimed sightings. And in 1972, the creation of the Thylacine Expeditionary Research Team with Dr. Bob Brown was concluded without finding any evidence of the thylacine's existence. There's a lot of alleged sightings of thylacines and Tasmanian tigers throughout the 20th century, saying that people have been seeing them still, but it's just a level where it's like they're extinct, they're gone, and it's a shame because they're really, really cool. And apparently there's some efforts to try and clone it, but it's a creature that actually existed. It is the only thing on this list that is 100% confirmed to have actually previously existed and just went extinct, and its cryptid status is based solely on the idea that maybe they're not all extinct. Maybe there's still a small group out there somewhere in the wilds of Tasmania that are still living. Maybe not thriving, but still living. They're such cool creatures. You see videos of them. They're so cool. But I think being just animals as they are, living out in the woods, living out in Tasmania, the wilds of Tasmania. I don't know if it's jungles or whatnot. I think ranger is our best bet for thylacines. They're not quite druids. There's nothing magical about them. Rangers are kind of some level of magical, but they're out there just trying to live their lives and just be animals, right? Just trying to be the animals as nature intended. But that's where they ended up, and that's where we're gonna put them. I'm gonna take a little break, drink some more water while the ad runs on Twitch. Excuse me, drink some water. You drink some water if you haven't drank some water. Excuse me. Okay. We have one left to go. We got 20 minutes left in the stream, which means we'll probably just do some guess the game to round out everything. This just took a bit longer than I anticipated. I wasn't sure. I think I had I had lines of 14, 3 deep. I had like 42 of these to go through. And this is what we're landing on. No sorcerers, no fighters, because I already know where the Tommyknockers are going. So, the Tommyknockers. Tommyknockers are, again, maybe more folkloric than they are actually cryptids. But I included them because they're just kind of funny. Tommyknocker cryptid. This is the Wikipedia page. The knocker, knacker, or Tommyknocker is a mythical subterranean gnome-like creature in Cornish and Devon folklore. The Welsh counterpart is the coblin. It is closely related to the Irish leprechaun, Kentish cloaker, and the English and Scottish brownie. The Cornish describe this creature. The creature is a little person, 2 feet tall, with a disproportionately large head, long arms, and wrinkled skin, and white whiskers. It wears a tiny version of standard miner's garb and commits random mischief, such as stealing miners' unattended tools and food. So basically, Welsh and Cornish miners, like immigrants, came over and brought stories of the Tommyknockers and their theft of unwatched items and warning knocks to Western Pennsylvania. Yeah, it basically, like, it reached such a point that, like, people would, like, say goodbye to the knockers when they went to leave, like, the mines kind of a thing. They would say goodbye. I think there was even a point where, like, some miners demanded that the Tommyknockers be given some sort of compensation when the mines closed, kind of a thing. But yeah, it became a bit of a folklore kind of a thing, where a bunch of American miners were just like, no, yeah, these are our coworkers. These are also fellow miners working with us, kind of a thing. Yeah, no, it's just very funny. There's actually a little paragraph here about it on the Wikipedia page called "Belief in the Knockers in America Remained Well into the 20th Century. When one large mine closed in 1956 and the owners sealed their entrance, 4th, 5th, and generation Cousin Jack circulated a petition calling to the mine owners to set the Knockers free so they could move on to other mines. The owners complied. Belief among Nevadan miners persisted amongst miners as late as the 1930s. But yeah, so they're little helper elves, helper miner type things. I'm gonna put them in artificer just by the idea that they're little like elf-like, like fae-like creatures helping, like doing mischief, right? They're taking food, they're taking little tools and things like that, but then they also return by like working on their tools or like making little improvements to something. Maybe their lanterns maybe shine a little bit brighter. Like, I like the idea of them being little artificers and like improving things and helping the miners out. So I'm gonna put them in artificers because I think it's kind of fun. But that means no fighters and no sorcerers. Also, Phantom, I'm glad I found you. Yes, a go vibe. But thank you so much. I try to have kind of chill vibes. Now, this is an unusual stream. I don't do a ton of tier lists, I'm perfectly honest. I would have normally been playing Cult of the Lamb, but I want to do this one because it was fitting for the season because I like cryptids, and I was like, they're kind of spooky. Let's do this. Let's do something for October. Let's do a final review on this. Am I happy with where everything landed here? I think in general I am. I think there's a potential that, like, are any of these really fighters? Because fighters in D&D are, they're trained warriors, right? They're trained in fighting techniques and combat and things like that. Any sort of fighter-esque things are going to be either rangers or barbarians from the cryptid side. None of them are going to be trained fighters, right? The only exception would be like maybe the Men in Black, if they were some level of like that, or anything like that. I don't know, or like I said, even the Pope-like monster could potentially be a fighter, but I think they fit better as like a warlock. Same with sorcerer. Some of these could be like natural spellcaster type things, but I feel like a lot of these fit best in these other places. So no fighters, no sorcerers, but we've got the Tommyknockers as the only artificers. Our barbarians have the Ahul, Bat Squatch, the Beast of Bray Road, the Beast of Jevodon, don't believe that's not Beast of Dartmoor, I'm an idiot, the Grafton Monster, the Michigan Dogman, and Sheep Squatch. Those all feel very good as barbarians, actually. Those all feel, the Grafton Monster is the only one that's like not really in the same vein as all of those, but it feels very much like, yeah, these are all barbarians. Bard, we got the Men in Black, which I'm not, like, it fits best from like the eloquence kind of standpoint or the glamour bard idea, where they've got that mysterious, magical, supernatural entity around them. Same with the Grinning Man and the Ozark Howler. The Ozark Howler is a weird one, but I feel like with it being its thing, about it being its distinct howl, it fits there. The Owlman purely because it hangs out at a churchyard. There's not much else I've got about the Owlman. The Beast of Blattenborough, the Beast of Busco, the Flatwoods Monster, Champ, Ghost Deer, Loveland Frog, Mongolian Deathworms, and the Loch Ness Monster. Those all feel pretty okay as druids. The Flatwoods Monster, that one feels not quite right as a druid, if I'm perfectly honest, but also it fits the best there. Just because it's what we know about it, it kind of like rushing and screeching at somebody. It's got a weird like aura around it. I think that's the best one. We're gonna go for that. Nothing fighter. Chupacabra as monk is a weird one, but like I said, it having the way of the long death, where it's about taking the vitality out of living creatures, it feels right as a for the Chupacabra and its vampiric nature. Bigfoot, this is the only weird one where it's like this one doesn't really fit the theme of Bigfoot, but in my mind, I visualize Bigfoot as an Oath of Ancients paladin, and just protecting the ancient ways of the natural order of the world. It just fits very well in my mind. Air Rods as Rangers is another just weird one that I'm not sure about, but it feels like it's the best way to go. The Beast of Dartmoor, Jackalope, Momo, the Shore Laddie, Skunk Ape, Ohio Grassman, and the Tasmanian Tiger all feels right as a Ranger. Alien Big Cats, the Dover Demon, the Hopkinsville Goblins, and Melonheads as Rogues also feels alright. The only other one would be like Melonheads. Maybe actually Melonheads as Sorcerers. Be kind of interesting if they were like Aberrant Mind, actually. Yeah. If they were like, as part of the experiments done on them, they developed these psychic abilities, but that also like is why they part of having hydrocephalus, but maybe that's like they're more in tune, like they're able to better channel psychic abilities through the Aberrant Mind. Maybe we put Melon as a sorcerer. Maybe we have a sorcerer. We just don't have any fighters. Yeah, I kind of like that actually. Then we go to Warlock. We've got the Black-Eyed Kids, the Jersey Devil, the Montauk Monster, Not Deer, the Poplick Monster, and the Snallygaster. That feels fine to me. And then finally our Wizards, the Fresno Nightcrawlers, and Mothman. I think those also fit very well. Like I said, Mothman is a very divination wizard. The Fresno Nightcrawlers, I don't know which wizard they would be, but very much just like, you know, knowledge kind of a thing where they know stuff. They're out there looking for knowledge. I think I like this. I think I like the way we've ended up here. And so that's it. That's it for that. We're gonna go over and do some guess the game just to round out the day. But this is my tier list. This is what we've got. This is the weirdest fucking adventuring party and group, or like adventuring guild you could come across. Just a whole bunch of creatures here. Though there's possibly a very fun game to be had at that point. Let me download the image for this so I can share it on Twitter and Blue Sky, which I need to update my like macro for to point more people towards Blue Sky. But yeah, I'll share this as well. Probably on YouTube as well. But thank you so much for watching the tier list, everybody. I'm gonna go over and we're gonna do a few rounds of guess the game, and then I need to stop because I gotta get ready for D&D. But let me go ahead and update everything here as well, so everybody knows that we're moving over to guess the game. I forgot I changed that. Post Cryptid reviewing game guessing. Back to the tradition. If you're new to the channel, at the end of most streams, I also go through and I do a few rounds of Guess the Game, which is a Wordle-esque type game where I get 6 opportunities to try and guess what a game is based on these images. All I ask is that if you're watching, is to wait for me to get to the 6th and final part of this, at which point I'll turn to chat and go, I don't know what the hell this is, most of the time, usually how it ends. And then at that point you can put forth your guesses. But we're on day 646. Catching up somewhat rapidly at this point. Is this a Dead Island game? Dead Island Riptide. Nope, it's not even a Dead Island game. What the hell is this? I don't know. Request Revive. PC, PS5, Xbox Series. Shooter tactical. I don't know what this is. It's not, what is this? No, it's not Valorant. Shooter tactical. Is it Siege? Rainbow Six Siege? Nope. I feel like I know what this is, and I'm annoyed that I feel like I know what this is. Is it like, what is it? What was that one game? Like Breakers or something like that? Shoot, I don't remember what this game is called. Is it just Breakers? No. Is this... What the hell is this? Is this Counter-Strike 2? I don't know what this is. Oh, it's the finals. I also didn't turn to chat. Whoops, sorry, my bad. The final. I didn't give a shit about the finals because apparently they use AI, whatever is in it. I would have never guessed that. Would have never guessed that because I don't give a shit. Baldur's. Is this Baldur's Gate 3? Baldur's Gate 3. Nope, it's not. I don't know what this is. Level OP. I don't know. Diablo 4. How do you do 4? Diablo 4. It is a Diablo game. PC and mobile. Oh, what was the Diablo mobile game? Diablo Immortal? Yeah, the mobile game that I heard was very, very, very bad. But hey, I got it. Hey, I got it. He's that, right? What the hell? Okay, hang on. 81% PC. Is this Barotrauma? Is this what Barotrauma looks like? It is Barotrauma. Huh. Never played this game because it's supposed to be really fucking scary. But, huh. How about that? Barotrauma. Hey, I got it. I got it. 649. Oh, I immediately don't know what this is. No Metacritic or for please 74 on Dreamcast. PS1. It kind of looked like a Metal Gear game. It's not. Adventure shooter. Regina, is that Blood Rain? It's not Blood Rain. Chat, I don't know what this is. Is it it looks like a Hideo Kojima game, but I don't know what this is. Chat, anyone know what this is? Because I don't. I don't have a clue what this is. Like it looks like a Metal Gear game. But I don't know. No Metacritic score. So okay, hang on. PS1 adventure shooter, 1999 from Capcom. I have no idea what this is. Oh, it's Dino Crisis. There's no fucking dinosaurs in here. Hang on, you're gonna have me try and guess a game called Dino Crisis and not putting dinosaurs in the damn images? What the hell? Fucking Dino Crisis. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is Abzu. It's not Abzu. Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time? Nope. What the hell is mobile, PS4, Switch, and PC? Adventure, arcade, indie, music? What the hell am I looking at here? Okay, 84% mobile, PS4, Switch, PC, adventure, arcade, indie, music. Came out in 2019 and by Simogo AB. I have no idea what this is. I have not the foggiest clue what this could potentially be. Because it is... I got nothing. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna take the L on it. Sayonara Wild Hearts. Never in my life have I heard of that. We gotta go out on a win. We gotta go out on a win. This art style looks familiar. Couldn't tell you why, but it looks familiar. The cave. It's not the cave. Bye, Toast. Have a good one. Take care. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. Take care of you. We're stopping here in just a couple of minutes. My voice is very much done. Is it Broforce, maybe? Hey, it is Broforce. I played this a little bit. It is Broforce. I recognize it. I played this a little bit. It's an okay game. I had fun. I played with friends, so they definitely helped a lot that we were playing with friends, because this game is it's fine on its own, if I'm perfectly honest. But anyway, I am actually gonna call it there because my voice is dead. I need to take my dog for a walk, and I need to get ready for D&D tonight. So, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me while I went through and indulged me on my interest in Cryptids and Dungeons and Dragons, because I don't know if anybody else really cares about them as much as I do. I know there are people out there who are really into cryptids and stuff like that, but I don't know anybody who watches me specifically is that into it. But thank you so much for hanging out while I went through all this. I'm like I said, I'm glad where we land on things. No fighters, which is kind of bizarre, but yeah. Thanks for hanging out, Phantom. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find somebody to raid real quick. Who am I following? Who is currently live? We won't raid Ray because Ray is way bigger than me. We won't raid Matt because Matt's way bigger than me. Let's raid Lixie. We haven't raided Lixie for a minute. I don't think. Lixie, Fluralix, is a friend of mine, friend of the channel's. She is currently playing. It looks like 7 Days to Die with like maybe a new server type thing. Not 100% sure. But we're gonna raid Lixie. Our normal raid message is Bone Brigade, and if you have it, with the Crypto Talk, I'm glad you liked it. I had fun. I hope you all had fun. Our normal raid message is Bone Brigade, and that's what. If you don't have the emotion, you just do it. Just do the words, whatever. We're gonna go ahead and raid Lixie. I've got to go and take my dog for a walk. Go follow Lixie. She's great. She's a lot of fun. Like I said, she's playing 7 Days to Die right now. Something much more thematically appropriate and seasonally appropriate than me talking about cryptids for 4 hours. But yeah, go follow Lixie. She's great. Thank you so much for the follows. Thank you so much for hanging out, chatting with me while I indulged you in my own interests. But anyway, have a good one. Twitch, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you next time. Oh, stream schedule. Next stream is Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. Probably more Bioshock. And then Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be back in TCG Card Shop Simulator. And then next Saturday, back probably in Cult of the Lamb. I'm perfectly honest, trying to finish it up. Anyway, thanks for watching, Twitch. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you next time. Bye now. All right. Now that they're gone, YouTube. Hey, let me put my thing here. Oh, I'm coming in right at the same time as another raid. What a bummer. But it's okay. That's fine. YouTube, same things. New streams on Tuesday and Thursday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, and back in Cult of the Lamb next Saturday. Have a good one, YouTube. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.